wheels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about to leave. Oh, roller coaster.
Buffalo Bills training camp starts on Wednesday, and in preparation for that, Sal Capacio does have a piece up at our website at WGR550.com today with storylines to follow on the offensive side of the ball. And coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Figo Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys, and driven by your Upstate Honda dealers. For great deals on the entire Honda lineup, visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. Titans quarterback Will Levis is undergoing shoulder surgery. He is going to miss now the entire 2025 season, as this injury does date back to last season. The surgery comes after Levis was unable to shake the shoulder discomfort. Cowboys edge rusher Micah Parsons is reporting to camp. He is, though, still looking for a new contract. And the Steelers have released images of their new throwback uniform they'll be wearing this season. It takes inspiration from the 1930s and the 1960s. And then a packed night of baseball just after 7 o'clock. The Jays are hosting the Yankees, and the Mets have the Angels in town, while the Bisons, they're off tonight. They'll be back at it tomorrow when they get a 6-game road series against Columbus underway. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
All right, what's the report from outside?
I was outside for maybe 3 minutes. I counted 8 Q-tips. It's got to be one person that just throws their Q-tips out the window when they're done using them in their cars.
It's Mike Schopp.
One person?
More than one person using Q-tips and throwing them outside?
I don't think I use 8 Q-tips in a year.
I think I've never used 8 Q-tips.
And the Bulldog.
What the hell is going on out there? I don't think I want to work in a place where people roll their windows down after using Q-tips for Lord knows what and just throw them on the ground.
Well, you do.
What, is it the 70s?
Oh, that's not very nice.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Driving on the highway 65 miles an hour. I get a little left in my soda from the fast food drive. Out the window. That was the 70s. Who gives an F about anything?
Throw a burrito out the window.
Nothing matters. 2025, what are you doing?
On WGR.
Throwing Q-tips out of your car.
Sports Radio 550.
I just seconds ago realized I was not plugged in here. I think I'm just taking it very casually because you're back. I mean, you should have seen me last week. I was sleeping here.
I'm flattered. That means a lot.
I slept over 3 nights last week just to make sure I was prepared.
Wow.
Here, I'm not even plugged in.
All right.
This is going to be so much easier.
Well, I better know what I'm doing then.
The burrito out the window, of course, Anchorman. Will Ferrell in a car.
Sure.
Throws a burrito. Ron Burgundy throws a burrito at Jack Black, who I don't know if we got his name.
No, I don't think he's identified. He's simply, I think, probably in the credits, he's identified as biker.
Yeah, and he's on a bike, and he gets hit with this burrito. When you were riding a motorcycle. When you were riding a motorcycle, did you ever do that super cool move where you're going like 30 miles an hour over the speed limit on a highway, and you're coming up on 2 cars that are side by side and have had literally no time to react to your being there, and you zip right through them? That's a super cool move, I think.
Yeah, no, I never felt. I find that to be hellaciously obnoxious behavior by motorcycle riders.
You think?
And I also never felt confident or skilled enough in my riding ability to pull off such a maneuver safely. I don't know if the people who do behave that way on motorcycles take their own safety and aptitude into account when they do things like that. I assume they feel like they can pull it off. Otherwise, I don't know, maybe it's a little daredevil in you. But no, I hated people who behave that way on motorcycles because I was a motorcycle rider and I didn't want people to hate me.
Yeah, see?
Like people in cars.
That's
like
so hard.
I want to stick up for, like, we're all not doing wheelies on the 290 going 70 miles an hour.
Yeah, 70. I mean, that's...
Yeah, I'm being...
You're being conservative.
Yeah, probably.
When you're doing that, making that move, I mean, it's more like, it's closer to 90, I bet.
I did one time on the deserted 33 see how fast it could go and got to 100 and was terrified and immediately slowed down and just, that was that. So it was like, I want to see what this baby can do.
Love it.
And I got to 85. I'm like, I guess I'm going to just keep rolling the throttle. I'm like, I'm 100. I could die.
Don't love it.
I'm going to stop now.
That just came out of my mouth. Don't love it.
Just going to stop. Okay.
I went 100 once.
Right.
In a fancy, a car that could do it.
Yep.
That was on the Southern Tier Expressway. That was good enough. I'm all set.
Same.
I just, I did.
Yeah.
We pulled it back.
It wasn't even something I had thought about a lot. Like nobody ever asked me, hey, how fast does your motorcycle go? But that day there was no one in front of me and I'm riding and I just thought, it's the Kensington. Nobody ever gets pulled over. I'm just going to see what happens.
This is my chance to find out.
And so I did. Yeah.
Well, it's big because Bulldog is here. Here comes everything.
Right.
Hard Knocks, the farewell season, another run at a first Super Bowl, right? I mean, that's not last on the list of things to care about. Right. And we've got Sal back. It's big. I mean, everybody is sort of getting into position here.
Sal's back from Italy. I'm back from really nowhere, but,
You're back. Sal's back. Sleeper injury notifications are back as of today. Mm-hmm. There was the little... Deshaun Watson's status changed from healthy to questionable. Oh, that's back.
Yeah.
Can't really do anything about that yet.
He's still on the Cleveland Browns, right?
He is on the Browns. Mm-hmm.
Is he expected to, what? Is he going to be in a red quarterback jersey taking snaps behind the other 18 guys they drafted?
I don't believe he's physically able. But he's been around.
Right. Okay. He had an
Achilles.
Injury. Yeah, that's right.
I think he's been around, though. I talked to a guest last week from Cleveland who referred to that. But nobody's expecting him to play at all. Maybe ever again. That could just be over for
Daryl Ryder or Spencer German?
Spencer German.
And I had him on one time when you were away. Back earlier
Rochester
in the offseason. Right.
Roots.
Right.
And so here come all the articles. Sal's working. We'll talk to him later. Position group by position group, most interesting storylines. Got to dig deep. with this team, like offensive line. Everybody's back. Right. All the starters, all the backups.
Yeah, I think he writes there might be one backup spot that could maybe swing or something.
That's right.
There's the picture of stability.
You did your homework on that one.
Yeah.
ESPN has a ranking of every team's rosters, best to worst.
I saw that. I saw a list of rank. No, you know what? I did not see that. I saw defensive. No. Again, wrong. Sorry. I just got back from Des Moines. Old joke. I saw the front sevens ranked, and the Bills were 9th. And I was
Warren Sharp.
And I felt, I'm not even sure who it was.
I think it was.
And I just sort of went, oh yeah, it was Warren Sharp. You're right. You had him on last week too, didn't you?
I did.
And I thought. That's pretty good for I was curious. Like they didn't appear right away. The way the list was on Twitter, it was like the top 2 or 3 were there. So you had to click the body of the tweet to get the whole text. And like, oh, 9th.
Yeah,
right, that's pretty good.
What do you think of that move? Like he'll run the whole thing down like sort of 32-1. You have to click on it to see the whole list.
Yeah.
That's how that gets you. But there's no story. It's just a tweet.
Right, that's it.
Still only.
Right. I still like that.
He's kept his dignity.
Yeah, I don't have to wait for another thing to open and click through a bunch of sponsors ads and whatever. Like it's right there. Thank you,
It's
Warren.
probably a scam, right? 7 times out of 10. That's
Yes.
that is not what it appears to be. All right. ESPN has the roster rankings, and the Bills come in. You didn't see it, you said.
I guess I didn't.
You're too busy reading Warren Sharp's tweets and Sal's article.
Yeah.
Where should the Bills rank in terms of overall quality of the roster? I would tell you they did not finish last. That was New Orleans. New Orleans got 32nd.
I think
Worst
with as much and deservedly so, credit Josh Allen gets for them being a Super Bowl contender, like, the way we talk. I think the way most people talk. You got that guy. You talk the same way about the Chiefs and the Ravens. They got this guy. I mean, the Ravens get a lot of credit for the rest of their roster, but they're still probably nowhere without Lamar Jackson. So you've got one of those guys, therefore you're a contender. I still feel like, though, I don't know, if you're one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl, you should have a roster easily that's not outside the top 10, maybe even top 5. And I don't know where the Bills rank in this exercise. Fourth. Okay.
Yeah, it was well reasoned. They had the one, it might have been Bill Barnwell recently, who ranked everybody by skill position talent.
The Bills were in the 20s.
28th or something like that.
Yeah, they were way down the list.
So that would fly in the face of your point, but overall, fourth. They did this in 4 categories. Biggest strength, biggest weakness, X factor for 2025, and non-starter to know.
Oh, I like this.
And 3 different writers contributed: Mike Clay, Seth Walder, and Aaron Schatz. Biggest strength?
I mean, Allen has to be the biggest strength.
Done.
If there's a second, I would say the offensive line, but Allen.
Oh, what is second? Okay, I might too. I might agree. Biggest strength, Allen. Biggest weakness?
Receiving core?
Not this time. Safety.
Okay.
Uncertainty. The word uncertainty is used.
I can listen to that. Sure. They've got a pretty unproven second-year guy that they're, I think, they've got backups. They've got other guys, but I think they're kind of counting on Bishop breaking through. Yep. And that's uncertainty. Yeah, I mean, I'm bullish on him, but you don't have to be. And it doesn't really mean anything that I'm bullish on him. I like him. I like his name. I liked his athletic profile when they drafted him. Can you do the job? I don't know.
His name?
It's Cole Bishop. It sounds like a football player. I want patrolling the
a strike
deep
against.
third of the field.
That's a strike against. The good name is often a trap. Safety. X factor for 2025. How about that?
X factor for 2025. Would they get so far in the weeds to refer to Elijah Moore as an X factor? He's not even 100% to make the team, I don't think. So that might be reachy as an X factor.
Exactly. It's too There's too little of an investment.
Yeah.
I think.
Right.
It's Coleman and Kincaid is the answer.
Okay.
The Bills need at least one of the two to take a big step forward. If they do, GM Brandon Beane will look plenty justified not investing more in another pass catcher. If you click on not investing more, hyperlink, it's an article about us.
Yes.
And calling us to complain.
I might have guessed. That was...
Appreciate that. It's not a link to our, to the conversation. It's a link to their art. Or that might have a link to the conversation in it.
It probably does.
It probably does.
In blue somewhere in the story that you can go to the video or something.
Oh, yeah.
I guess.
Seth Walder wrote this paragraph. This would give Allen another real playmaker to throw to besides Khalil Shakir. I'm not much of a believer in Joshua Palmer. If neither breaks out, the Bills have a pass-catching weakness.
Well, that sort of validates my answer for the previous question, which was biggest weakness, and I thought receiver, but instead they said uncertainty at safety. But X factor, I need one of these guys to come through, otherwise receiver is going to be a weakness. I don't know. There's uncertainty there, isn't there? It's the same, whatever. I'm not picking apart the article. I'm just saying, like, it's. I think they're not deep there.
Biggest weakness, you can totally justify that. We've beaten it to death.
Yeah.
And Allen covers for it so far. Right. And the offensive line and the fact that they
run as much.
Probably smartly pivoted to a team that really that's more their identity. And I do not expect that to change. Nothing about their roster movement would suggest that. It worked. So I think it'll probably look like it's looked. As long as they're, healthy and defenses aren't better at stopping them. Then last one is non-starter to no.
Have I already said this man's name?
Yes.
During this, is it Elijah Moore?
Yes.
Okay.
Aaron Schatz wrote this one. The slot target has never finished higher than 70th in defense-adjusted yards above replacement. ESPN's receiver tracking metrics gave him a score of 24 last season, near the bottom of the league. But Moore played for the Jets and Browns. Will he finally show his talent in a good offense with a great quarterback? Aaron doesn't tell you. Because, he's somebody who might know whether that will happen. Sal mentions Elijah Moore in his article, too. And, it's more in the context of will he make the roster? And that'll be a fun one. I'm thinking about, it's camp that everybody's hyped for, starting, players on the field in 2 days. Here we go. I think the preseason will be, relative term. I'm 53 years old now. Not as many things excite me as it used to be, but will be interesting to see what the usage is. And Moore is maybe top of the list for that. You don't have as many on offense. You really don't have the rookies at all to want to see. They don't have that. That would make it even more interesting. Sort of who plays. And I guess, then apart from Allen, maybe, mostly, and I don't know about Cook either, but they don't have rookies to just sort of put through the paces in the preseason to the tune of 60 snaps or something. It'll be some of the regulars.
And the playing time in the preseason can be hard to diagnose how meaningful it is. It's always meaningful. It means something, but it doesn't always mean what you might think. Sometimes you see a guy playing a lot and you think, oh, they must really love this guy. They want to get him up to speed. And no, they probably know in the back of their minds he's not making it, so they're just going to use him so that they can protect the guys that they want to make sure that the guys that are making the team. And so that can be, and I think we'll get a healthy dose of that. What does it mean that Elijah Moore isn't playing? Usually, I think it's a better sign if a guy isn't playing. We value you. We don't want you getting turf toe or stepping funny on anything. Just no. You're on the team, so let other guys play. But, you do have new moving parts here. You are going to want to get a good look at some people, although maybe teams can accomplish that in practice, especially joint practices, and not have to worry about the game so much. And we don't, I don't think Sal's allowed to tell us who practices with whom and lines up where and how frequently they're on the field. They guard that in practice. In games, we can all see it. But again, we're back into that sort of what I just alluded to. What does it really mean? Is it a good sign or a bad sign that this guy's playing a lot or not playing at all?
Right, like Samuel. Would he be somebody that would play a lot in the preseason. He's maybe interesting if this comes to mind. In that last year, it was a practice where he got hurt in Pittsburgh, but still, like they kind of lost him. I don't know what they thought they were going to get had he been healthy. We didn't get that answer. It was late before he mattered at all. But they just went through a year where they didn't get his value because of something that happened in August. So he's older. He might be somebody logically that you scale back. And then what does that, like you said, what does that tell you? If Allen's not on the field in the preseason, which he won't be for most of it, if not all of it, then, like you said in another way, what is the point?
What am I getting out of playing these veteran
what am I
receivers
learning?
if they're not developing some working chemistry with the quarterback who they are expected to play with should they make the team?
But if there were no preseason and instead August 9th, that's the date, I think, of the first preseason game, was the regular season opener, like colleges. You're just jumping in. Would you expect Elijah Moore to play much at all? Like he's not going to be a starter. I mean, how could he be a starter? Coleman,
no, at best
Shakir,
he's the fourth guy in. If he beats out Samuel,
at best, at best.
Yeah.
I mean, Coleman's on the field, Shakir's on the field, Kincaid's on the field,
Palmer's on the field,
and then Palmer. I think Palmer could end up being more of a part-time option because of these other guys too, like just the number of interesting, if not really good, options that they have.
Yeah, it obviously wasn't a part of this rundown that we just went through, but something else that I saw, not Warren's thing, and I don't think it was Sal's thing. I don't think Sal had a list of. It was an ESPN.com thing that just was one surprising cut for each team. And I clicked on that too, and in my head I was thinking when it got to the Bills, which really is all I was in the exercise for to begin with, was to see who they said. I saw that headline and thought, I wonder if they're going to say Curtis Samuel for the Bills. And I went through and it was Elijah Moore.
Pro Football Network, one shocking cut candidate. That's right. I'm not sure that would be that shocking.
More? Yeah. No. I think Samuel would be more shocking. It's a bigger outlay. I don't know what the dead money versus savings equation would end up being there.
I had this last week. But I think it's $9 million.
Okay. That they could save?
9 that's dead.
Oh.
9 or 12.
Oh, wow.
It was a real number.
Dang. I felt like when they signed him, they could get out of that relatively, comfortably.
I think that's next year. Maybe it even was last year.
So anyway, I feel like those two guys, that is, if Moore looks good to them in practice and gives them something, even if it's just dependability, right? If they're worried about having to nurse Samuel along because, he got hurt last year and he's had injuries throughout his career, then if they might feel like they can count on more than Samuel. Sorry for that being so clumsy. I feel like it's hard for me to imagine. I shouldn't say it's hard. Both of those guys could be on the team. They could be 4 and 5 in whatever order you want. Or they could want to keep someone who's more of a special teams guy, punt coverage guy, run blocker guy, bigger body guy, whatever. I think there's a case to be made that Moore and Samuel are battling for a spot.
And one is much cheaper to cut.
Right, and that's Moore.
It's a $9 million cap hit, Samuel, and a $12 million dead cap number. Does that mean that they would save, or they would be minus $3 million to cut him? Or the 12, they'd have to eat the 12, but save the 9?
Okay.
Is it as simple as that?
I think that might be right. So that's like a $3 million dead figure, which isn't.
That's the result.
Too cumbersome, I don't think. If that equation is right, I'm not sure that it is. But anyway.
All right.
Sorry to rehash something you talked about last week. My first.
Oh, well, there won't be a lot of that. I doubt we'll get into the swing off. I'm really interested in talking about Scotty Scheffler, though. So I watched more of this Open Championship than perhaps any golf tournament in my lifetime. It just worked out that way.
Yeah.
My family was out of town, and I just was so entranced by it. The beauty of that venue and I loved it. And, it was one of those weekends where I'd have to tell myself, all right, during break, get up and do something. Get up, dishes, like just do something around that, because I can't really justify sitting here for 7 hours.
I was off last week, and we were running around for the front end of that. Finger Lakes, Adirondacks, whatever. It's great. But by Wednesday, we're home and settled. And Thursday morning, I woke up at 5. And, of course, I'm on vacation. I could have easily just rolled over and went back to bed. But I immediately thought, the golf is on. And I got up, and I sat there until whatever time the coverage ended on Thursday. I got up and did, dishes or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I made food, but I did not do anything. And at one point, one of my sons walked through the room. I don't remember if it was Owen or Leo, and said, like, what are you doing? And then I'm just watching the golf, but it's been on since, like, 2 a.m. I just don't know what I'm going to do when it goes off.
They started over, don't they?
I'm going to miss it so much at 4 o'clock. What am I going to do at 4 o'clock? It feels like the day is just starting at 4 o'clock. What? Anyway, I did not see a lot of Saturday because I was in a golf tournament way out in Concord, New York. And so I left at 5:30 in the morning to go out there and wasn't back until it was just about over for the day. So I missed a lot of Saturday, but yeah, it's easy to just fall into.
And it was the opposite of the U.S. Open in that it just was not close. Tournaments like this are interesting in their own right when the guy winning is the top player. And you just sort of like almost can't imagine him cracking. Scheffler gave you one double yesterday on 8 to have his lead cut to 4, and then he immediately birdied him right after that. And just like, this is not happening.
Right.
Somebody like that's an unknown. You get the occasional major where that not recently, but you get more of an unknown guy he's got the big lead, and that's compelling. Like, can this guy actually not sort of freak out? But with Scheffler, there's no hint of that, and it's interesting, I think, to discuss whether he's interesting or whether what he's doing. He's ruining our game. So we went from, this seems like it's pretty close. Do I want to be the person picking 10 players? Do I want to have the field? Fun to think about, like, what's better. Then there was a run where the picker almost never won because you just had these random major championship winners, and then it felt like I don't want to have to make the decision. And now it's the opposite.
The last 2 years since he's really taken off, it's just you have to take him on your team, and he's won. What has he won? Has he won 4 in 2 years? Right? 4 of the majors, I think. Right? Masters, maybe it's 3 years.
He won 2 this year.
Right, and I think 22 was the first one. So I'm rushing it a little, but it's like 2.5 seasons he's won 4.
He's won the PGA twice, so maybe he's won 4 total, 5 even. I don't know. But yeah, like. You're picking the favorites, and he's a cut above McIlroy. I mean, McIlroy even said it yesterday. So historically, like what he is right now, we'll talk to Brian Koziol later as well. Sal at 4, Brian at 6, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here as Bills camp comes along. Wednesday's day 1, 803-0550. What's your most interesting storyline? I guess maybe the show prior to ours did similar to that, but that's where we started. Once we got past talking about motorcycles. 803-0550, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
It's hard to describe what it feels like because, I don't feel any different because I've won a golf tournament. This is not the be-all, end-all for me, but I'm extremely grateful for it. Kid you not, I have worked since I was 2 or 3 years old to have a chance to play professional golf for a living. And now I've been able to win tournaments that I just dreamed of playing in. And it's an amazing feeling, and I'm so grateful to be able to live out my dreams. But, like I said, my faith in my family is what's most important to me. And I try to live as normal a life as possible because I feel like a normal guy. I have the same friends I had growing up. I don't think that I'm anything special just because, some weeks I'm better at shooting a lower score than other guys are.
More introspectiveness from Scotty Scheffler after winning another major. It is 4, 2 Masters this and 1 PGA earlier this year.
I think I heard him, after the round yesterday at some point, I don't think it was from earlier in the weekend, talking about when he was a kid. It may have been a part of that soundbite and just didn't make the cut because it was a longer soundbite, not as long as the 5-minute thing he went on talking about the joy of winning and his life and priorities and all that earlier in the week. He said when he was a kid growing up in Texas, it's hot. He started wanting to play golf, learning to play golf, and he always wore pants. He always wore pants to the golf course because that's what the guys on TV who were playing in the PGA wore. They wore pants. So, I'm going to wear pants. He said it was hot and people made fun of me, but I'm like, I'm going to get in the habit of wearing pants.
Too hot for them, just right for me.
And I'd never heard that about him, and it's, I think, maybe my new favorite thing. Like 12-year-old Scotty Scheffler learning to play golf, or maybe already being really good in junior golf. I don't know his lifeline, but I just think it's really cool that he's like, I'm wearing pants.
I like that. The kid was cute.
Yeah, the kid was cute. For sure.
Tried to hold touch the trophy or whatever. Trying to climb that one hill. Got to look at that. The first on-course interview he did with someone from Sky Sports. She mentioned how he said he didn't really get to see the town because he was, working. And she said something like, "Will you do that now?" No, I'm going home. I'm going home now.
I'm not taking a vacation in the town where I just spent 4 days winning a golf tournament.
I'm sure it's great.
Right.
But I'm going to get out of here now that this is over.
I think the view... Ireland's, it's on a lot of people's lists of a place to go. Whether you want to go play golf there or not is a whole other thing. But go, family vacation, whatever, right? It's on our list. This weekend, seeing the sights there, the cliffs, the sea, everything, there's plenty of beautiful places. You've seen photos of your friends' vacations in Ireland. This was the best advertisement for going to Ireland, I think, that I've ever seen. It was sunny and pretty. It wasn't, not the whole time, but it was mostly pretty nice and looked like a place you'd want to go sit on the beach.
Because someone's going to tell you if I don't. Northern Ireland.
Ireland, thank you. Yes. Northern Ireland, thank you.
But similar, looking.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't it be? Oh, yeah. I mean, I never think when I'm watching a golf tournament that I wish I were there. I never think that. But this week I did.
Yeah.
Just to be able to stare at it from certain spots. I also told Brian some of the terrain was so hilly that I'm watching fans, just sort of grouped up greenside somewhere on a hill, and I'm like, I would totally be sliding down that hill accidentally.
Right.
I wouldn't. I mean, I'd have to really dig in. I couldn't wear these sandals. I'd have to wear shoes with traction, or else I am not going to be able to just sort of park on that hill, standing up for like 2 hours.
There's one of those shots where coming back from a commercial or something, these overhead sweeping drone shots that you've got now that showed like this sort of platform, like a view, edge of the continent, edge of the island kind of vibe, right? There's like a parking area, and you can see like people walking on this pathway out to this observation area. And I remember seeing that, going, I'd go there for sure. Like that's a spot I would want to be in, that exact spot, because it looked incredible, the cliffs and just really spectacular scenery.
Well, what about this guy? Since we're on him and the tournament, he's still 29. They had a graphic. Is it the exact same number of days to his fourth major as Tiger Woods? Would that be possible? From his first to his fourth? Something like that. Like he's not exactly on the Tiger path to... We're not talking about Nicklaus yet, with this guy, right?
Right.
But what is he? We've spent time... The golf world, if you will, has spent time on his demeanor and his thoughts. He is interesting. He's different in how he doesn't seem to be somebody, well, he's saying he's not, and I believe him, that's just like lives and dies with his results. So we've talked about that. How interesting is he, including that or beyond that? I mean, it's not fair to compare him to Tiger, anybody to Tiger in this way, because Tiger Woods transcended. Everybody knew who he was. And, I mean, I don't know ratings here, but, right? I mean, those years when he was peaking, I think you kind of just had to watch it. And Scheffler isn't that.
No.
There's also a Schauffele, which doesn't help Scheffler, because casuals
that
might
be
not.
Confusing.
Maybe
sure.
this is the week we realize that there's two different people.
Right. Once and for all.
One is Schauffele and one is Scheffler.
Yeah, one is named Scott, the other is named Xander. You should be able to keep that straight eventually.
It wasn't easy for me for a minute there.
Yeah. Well, I think it's comparing him to Tiger. Yes, I agree. Like, just put that over there. Because to me, anyone who comes after Tiger, like, good luck living up to that. It's just such a tsunami is really what he was for whatever the sweet spot of his career, which was 7-8 years maybe, or a little longer. I don't know. I've never been like an expert on his arrival and like the timeline on him.
Late 90s, wins 3 amateurs in a row in the mid 90s. While he's at Stanford, shows up on tour, changes the whole conversation about these competitions, what it all is about. 2001 is when he's winning them all. Like, he's peak.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that lasted a long time, but it was, he was young and he was able to turn pro and pretty quickly just kill everybody. And, everything about his story was just interesting. He was the biggest, I would say, probably the biggest story in sports for a long time.
Sure. Like, after Jordan, and he started kind of at the end of Jordan.
Yep.
And so he sort of took over that, I think, mantle for a while, maybe a decade or so.
Yeah.
He was there, and then, everything kind of went sideways with the personal life and all that, and, his health and whatever. Still, he had reclaimed some glory and all that, but that seems pretty distant now. Scheffler, what I think is maybe the most interesting about him, to me anyway, is how he is talking about what it all means to him. And like, because it's so different than Tiger Woods. Like, Tiger Woods was out there to cut your throat. Like, he was driven to the point where maybe the only criticism you could have of him was his temper getting the better of him, swearing, and just being so locked in that he would lose it sometimes. And Scheffler, I mean, that occasionally you see him like bang a wedge on the ground because he didn't like the shot he hit or something, but there's nothing really. You don't see outbursts from him. Mm-hmm. He's very even-keeled, and he's talking about keeping everything in perspective. I win these things, and like I sit there for hours staring at the trophy and thinking about how great I am. It's back to work and on to the next thing. And that's a different kind of driven. Like, it's a job, it sounds like to me, to him. Like, yes, it's super fun, but it's a job. I won this tournament, and now I have to go back to work because there's another one in a week, or maybe I'll take a week off, but there's another one in 2 weeks. And so I got to just get up and go to the range and go see my flexibility coach and whatever, all the stuff he does. So he's doing all the work, but yet it's more work than it is consuming him, is how he, I think, is trying to position it. And I would love to see him just continue to dominate, even though it's kind of boring for our bets, because I never liked about Tiger that he was so hard. It didn't appeal to me. I always liked Mickelson. Mickelson seemed like a more fun guy. And like, whatever. We're viewing these people from millions of miles away on TV. I don't know these people, but your public persona was Mickelson's this kind of gregarious, outgoing, good guy. Sure, I'll sign your autograph. Sure, I'll bet you $400 on this putt.
Trick shots.
Right. And Tiger was like over here, just like, I don't have time for anything. I don't have time for, no. No, I gotta work. I gotta do this. I gotta hit the gym. I gotta do it.
It's forever ago, but I remember there was some Mickelson kind of needled Woods in the media about like maybe you could hit the ball farther than something like that. And then he just almost immediately capitulated. It's almost like he felt he was embarrassed to have said anything. Tiger was such a god.
Yeah.
And that bothered me about Mickelson, that he wouldn't just sort of own it. And,
right.
You know, why did he just give up so easily?
Yeah, he threw a grenade and then ran away from it.
Yeah.
Really is kind of, I don't remember the quotes, but I remember that that's what happened, basically. He took a shot and then realized,
he pulled it back.
I came for the king. I better, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And Scheffler's just so contrary to that sort of driven, at least, outwardly, that, how he's trying to present himself. But
people say that that's right, though.
Yeah, right.
He seems to have a good reputation.
It's entirely believable, and I want to root for him to, keep winning majors with that sort of mentality.
The guy he played with yesterday, they were just like BFFs immediately. Hao Tong Lee, he seems like a real sweetheart, and Scheffler was into it. Like they were complimenting each other and laughing, walking down. Right. This guy Lee on Saturday says, "I'm playing for second." And I thought that was brilliant. Like, if there's any way to get it in Scheffler's head, maybe it's to say something like that.
Right.
Well, you've already won, so I'm just going to go have fun.
Yeah.
And that didn't apparently matter to Scheffler at all, because he birdies the first hole and maybe the second hole, and just like, okay,
just right off.
This is
races.
over.
Yep.
Here's Dale with us. Hi, Dale.
Hey guys, great topic and great show as always.
Thank you.
I'm old enough that I can remember the end of Jack and watching Jack play, and then, of course, all of Tiger. And Scotty Scheffler, right now, in real time, he belongs in that space from this standpoint. Jack was amazing. Tiger overpowered golf courses. He was brand new, never saw any. His athleticism was off the charts. And what Scotty does is he does what we all do, and I love listening to how you guys play golf. It's really great for the show. But we tee it up and we try to hit the fairway, and then from the fairway we try to hit the green, and that's really hard to do. And arguably, no one's done it better than this guy's done it for over 2 years. Tiger would hit it 60 yards wayward and then pull off a shot that had an 80-yard draw to it, and that's what made him so exciting to watch. And Scotty's literally boring, but he sets out to what we all look to do, and mentally he's right in that group because he's done it for over 2.5, 3 years, 5-hour rounds, 4 rounds in a row. He's undefeated when he's got a 54-hole lead. He's the Tim Duncan times 10 of golf.
I'm also thinking about basketball listening to you talk. He's not Shaq, right? He's not Shaq, which,
right.
makes him more relatable.
But you have to appreciate what he does. It's so great. And I love his demeanor. I'm a family guy. That comes first. And so I think he's super relatable and refreshing in that aspect too. But anyway, he's unbelievable. He just does what we all strive to do, and no one else on that tour. If you remember when Tiger won the Open, he did it never pulling his driver out, and he did exactly what Scotty did. He stayed in the fairways, avoided the trouble, and they could do that all the time. Why does Rory hit a driver? Dude, just hit a 3-wood or 3-iron, and you probably would win. I don't get it.
Well, thanks, Dale. It's probably a fair point about McIlroy, but isn't it correct that Scheffler's precision with his irons are non-Perel? Like, if he needs 213, he's going to hit a 213,
right,
like when he's on. And maybe nobody else can really approach that. So as long as McIlroy is, and he's second best, and he's a Hall of Famer, but he's not quite. What is this to say? I don't know. It doesn't seem like nobody else is that as dead accurate as Scheffler. And then Scheffler just shows up this week, and he's got multiple putting grips, and he's burying even par putts. Like he was tested yesterday, but it's like 15 feet for par, no problem. That's not McIlroy either.
No, that's right.
McIlroy gets really hot, and he's exciting, and he's an all-time great. But yeah, there is a little bit of boringness to it, which is not a bad thing in Scheffler. Thanks again, Dale. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Sal Capacio is back. He'll be on with us in just over 15 minutes. This is WGR.
living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. Oh, you seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over. It's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. Roller coaster. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about to leave. Oh, roller coaster. Oh, roller coaster.
Just after 4, coming up soon. Lines open at 803-0550 throughout the day. We will chat with Brian Koziol later on about the Open Championship. The Bills open training camp Wednesday. Their preseason opener, Saturday, August 9th, 1 o'clock against the Giants. Home game, the one preseason home game. So that is 2 weeks from Saturday. Brian Daboll's New York Giants. Jackson Dart.
Right.
Get ready for Jackson Dart.
All right.
Only 3 preseason games. Hit the ground running here, people. Get ready for Maxwell Hairston versus Jackson Dart. Maxwell Hairston versus Malik Neighbors coming up here on August 9th.
Fun.
Does Neighbors play?
They're not going to play Malik Neighbors. Why? Right?
I'll tell you why they will.
New quarterback.
Yes.
All right. Well,
I'm Brian Daboll. You asked me that way. Like, you're not going to actually play him in the preseason, are you? There's 2 ways I could answer it. One, of course not. Let's be real. Of course not. He's going to get 170 targets. We're not going to waste him in the preseason. Or, sir, we are the New York Giants. We have earned no trust. We have no right to, we don't need these games. We need these games. And so I've got a quarterback we just traded up into the first round for. At the Bills, you got to make a statement right there. At the Bills, in the preseason, I'm taking the Giants in that game. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to take the Giants.
Oh my God, this really took a turn.
Take the bad teams in the preseason.
I think he's insane if he plays Neighbors. New quarterback and what's practice for? Like we were talking about the Bills earlier, right? Allen's not going to play much in these preseason games, but we want to see Elijah Moore and Samuel and Palmer and like who's developing chemistry, like who's going to deserve to be on the field. That's going to have to be sorted out at practice. And I'd say the same thing about the Giants. That guy's too valuable to play in August. Leave him over there. The quarterback can work on his chemistry with him in practice.
He's the one guy on the team then.
Yeah.
Or on the offense.
Yes.
Cam Scadaboo will be on the field August 9th at Highmark Stadium.
No problem.
That'll be cool.
Sure.
The Bills, all the Bills rookies are defensive players. I don't have a new toy.
Right.
Where we talk about Coleman like last year in the preseason and just what to do with them. Who will be Dart, Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston? Maybe you get all 3. And I don't get commission here if anybody's buying tickets right now for that game, by the way. I get no cut. Here I am. What happened to Mike Schopp? He's selling me on the preseason opener? Right. I thought he was the guy I could trust to hate on the preseason every year. What happened to him? He got soft. Sal next. He's got a piece up, WGR550.com. Top storyline for each position group on the Bills. Today, offense, tomorrow, defense. We'll talk about that and more after, because that won't take 22 minutes. So there'll have to be more.
I'll try to talk slow.
That'll be after sports. Stay tuned. This is WGR. Worth more to me than a pizza overuse. Maybe pizza oven, last worth more to me than a pizza oven we never use. Maybe almost literally anything in the store is worth more to me than the pizza oven, more than Knox, and I can't have that. We'll see about this pizza oven. I like the idea. Is Dawson Knox the Bills' pizza oven? I don't know. You could search the pizza oven. Enjoy these.
Or anything. It was relatively safe, and it felt good. You should get caught in the rain once in a while.
I agree.
It is healthy.
I love getting caught in the rain. Isn't that from the Pina Colada song? Isn't that one of the lines?
Yeah. If you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain.
Getting caught in the rain, right there.
Is.
It's gospel.
Yep.
You got to do it. Adam is with us. Hello, Adam.
Hey, guys. I heard you talking about,
The Pina Colada song? Yeah, I know. It was great.
Is this Windhorst? Hello, viewers. Switch.
Oh, I want in on this too.
Bills training camp starts this week. It'll get going on Wednesday. And in preparation for that, Sal Capacio does have a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. Today, it is on the storylines to follow on the offensive side of the ball. And stay tuned, Sal is going to join the show next. Coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Figo Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys, and driven by your Upstate Honda dealer. For great deals on the entire Honda lineup, visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. Titans quarterback Will Levis undergoing shoulder surgery. That is going to see him miss the entire 2025 season, and this injury does date back to last season. While Cowboys edge rusher Micah Parsons is reporting to Cowboys camp. He, of course, is one of the edge rushers still looking for a new contract. And then a packed night of baseball. Just after 7 o'clock, the Blue Jays hosting the New York Yankees, while the Mets have the Angels in town. And then the Bisons, they're off tonight, but will begin a 6-game road series against Columbus tomorrow. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Terry Pagula has Jerry Jones to thank, because I don't know if Pagula would think the way Jerry Jones thinks. Like, he mentioned today with regard to Micah Parsons how he was hurt last year. He even had the number of games he missed wrong. He was too high. He said 6 when it was 4.
Oh, wow.
And hey, I mean, you're hurt. If Pagula did media, would he come off like that, where he would seem like ungrateful and just the kind of comments that make it all harder to get there? He wouldn't necessarily think like that. I'm not accusing him of it.
Yeah, I don't know that, like, specifically that sort of thing, but I think it's good that he doesn't talk.
Yeah, I mean, with the Sabres, I will admit,
I
kind of would like to hear from him once every 5 years or something when it comes to them. But yeah, I mean, I think it could end up detrimental, and Jerry Jones, it often does.
Lately, especially, yeah.
Here he is, Sal Capacio, back home with training camp on the horizon, just a couple of days away at St. John Fisher. Sal, welcome home.
Thanks, guys. Good to be back, no doubt about that.
Right to work. So
pretty much, yeah.
Position battles, or not position battles, storylines by position groups.
You wrote that story before you went away. Who are you kidding? You had it.
I actually wrote it, I believe, on the plane back. No, you know what, Bulldog? You're right. I wrote it. I started writing it on the way there, on the plane there.
All right.
It was an 8-hour flight, and then I touched it up on the way back home.
It isn't like there are so many battles this year, especially on offense. You started with offense. I mean, offensive line is almost funny. What are we supposed to say here? I committed to this project.
I would say, let's remember, that's why I titled it specifically storylines, not position battles.
Yeah.
There are storylines that aren't position battles. That's the whole point. And you're right, Mike, partly because there really are no position battles on offense other than maybe at the end of the wide receiver depth chart. You know, all of the starting spots are taken care of. So what I did was I just focused on what is a storyline going into camp. And yes, there are a couple that are position battles. For example, I know it sounds a bit kind of like maybe trivial, but honestly, there could be a backup quarterback battle this year. I mean, Mitch Trubisky and Mike White both have 1 year left of their deal. They're both about the same age. You could actually save about $500,000 by releasing Mitch Trubisky, but you would take on over $1.5 million dead money, but maybe there's something there. And of course, the biggest storyline is James Cook's contract, I think, but that changes Wednesday in some capacity. Either it becomes a much bigger storyline, or we kind of just say, okay, he's here, he's participating, and he's in the last year of his deal like other guys. So every position has a different type of storyline to be focused on.
Right. Fair enough. My guess on Cook, and these are only going to be guesses, unless you guys have intel. My guess on Cook, I would say, Sal, the likeliest scenario is the hold in, where he's here but he doesn't participate. Because I still can't get past the idea that, I know it wasn't like every day, but all the tweeting about money was meaningless. I mean, if he's not going to just miss one practice, he's not going to do anything about it. I don't know. That would be what I would consider the likeliest outcome Wednesday. Would you say the same or no?
No, but I do think it's possible. I think, to me, the most likely outcome is he is a full participant in practice.
Okay.
And that they just go from there and hope that, something get worked out. If not, he goes into the last year of his deal. I remember when he came in for minicamp and he was asked specifically, why did you, put those numbers out there? And he kind of didn't have a good answer. He's like, I just kind of wanted to. It was kind of weird, almost like he was backing off of it, to be honest with you. So I certainly see that as a possibility, Mike. But I think the more likely scenario is he's there and he participates.
Do you? I promise I will tie this together, hopefully in a way that makes sense. Do you know when the first episode of Hard Knocks is going to be on TV? Like, is it a week after camp opens? Is it 2 weeks? Like, what's the timeline there? Because, like, if I'm Cook and I'm trying to, like, turn up any amount of pressure on the Bills, I think that his hold in being portrayed on TV with Bills fans watching it, he might want to go through that effort just to see if that moves them at all. I mean, I don't know that it would, but I suppose it could, public just pressure mounting. So I wonder if the Hard Knocks thing, I don't know, changes it at all from anyone's perspective.
So last year, the first Hard Knocks episode was on August 6th, which is a Tuesday night. So that would have been about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So let's just say they go by the same kind of formula this year. I don't know for sure, but I would think that'd be a good guess. They start on the 23rd, and that would put us at August 5th, okay,
right.
1 day. So we're talking just about 2 weeks. I do believe that Hard Knocks could make this a much bigger storyline or maybe less of a storyline. Again, if he shows up, he participates, I think we're all like, okay,
right,
here he goes in the last year of his deal. But what if that happens and he still says something about it that becomes a story, right? I mean, like, I just think there's a lot of things that could have tentacles here that maybe we're thinking about watching, and then Hard Knocks kind of ramps that up a bit.
Yeah, and your timeline is right. Zach just whispered in my ear, Tuesday, August 5th is the season debut of the training camp Hard Knocks. So that'll win that. So it's exactly, 2 weeks from tomorrow, right, is what we're talking about.
Yeah, and I would think it would be the first week of practice would be kind of tied into there. I don't know how late they go. Maybe they go up to even Saturday or Sunday of that week, I guess. So first week and a half probably ties into the first Tuesday episode, and then, the next week ties in the next Tuesday episode. And they do cover preseason games and those things. So when you have a preseason game on a Saturday, it generally does air that next Tuesday.
With Sal Capacio, training camp opens Wednesday. So you did mention already in our conversation and in the article, the back of the wide receiver depth chart. How would you handicap it? Samuel, Elijah Moore, anybody else, guys from last year who you think could mix in here too?
The only one I think is Tyrell Shavers, but at this point, I just think it's going to be a tough spot for him to crack. I think there's 5 guys. Shakir, Coleman, and Palmer are on this team. I'm pretty sure Samuel's on the team. I just think that they gave him a bunch of money last year, enough money that it matters financially. They have to. They also, really didn't use him the way they wanted to because of the injuries last year. I think that makes a big deal here. Whereas, they want to get him going kind of the way he was going towards the end of the year in the playoffs. That Denver game, the big play that he made. Even in Kansas City, if he doesn't get tripped up, on one of the plays, like it might have been a much bigger difference in the result of the game. But I think that he started to feel healthy. They started to get him involved. I just think they have a lot they want to do with him. And then Elijah Moore is the guy that I just think is on the team. But is it a lock? No. I mean, he's got to go into camp. And look, he was a free agent for how many months? Until after the draft. Nobody signed him. Finally, the Bills did. And I do think he looked good in OTAs and minicamp. But he's still got to show it during training camp. So we'll see. I think it would take probably him not really performing well enough for Tyrell Shavers to bump up there. Now, there is a scenario where the team feels, okay, we just want to have an extra guy for whatever special teams reason. But honestly, guys, I just think there's enough players around the roster to be able to fill those spots that you don't have to keep an extra wide receiver, and you could keep someone who's going to contribute more anyway during games if you need to.
Yeah, we were talking about this in the first hour of our show today a little bit, Sal, and I wonder about Moore and Samuel as somewhat duplicates. I mean, I know they don't have them both listed on the depth chart as slot guys. Samuel is listed as Shakir's backup, at least the depth chart I'm looking at, and Moore is listed as Palmer's backup. But, style-wise, body type-wise, I feel like Moore and Samuel are, I don't want to say interchangeable, but they're similar enough to me that I wonder if one or the other could end up in trouble. This is not, of course, injuries and health and whatever could play into that too. I just wonder if they might like a different body type, whether it's for special teams or just to have someone who's more like Coleman in case Coleman can't play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't know if you're suggesting, moving completely off of them, but you're right. Maybe adding to the group, right, and keeping somebody else on the roster because, honestly, to release Curtis Samuel, guys, would cost them $8.6 million in dead money, and there's only $500,000 savings. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that to me. When it comes to Elijah Moore, a little bit different. They didn't give him a ton of money. They did give him some guarantees, so they could make that work. But if they really wanted to keep a guy that has a bit of that type of body, yeah, I think that's the case. Let's remember, too, the Bills could say, hey, we could just elevate. What's the chances of losing Tyrell Shavers, let's say, to waivers, right?
Or Caden Prather, the draft pick from this year.
Exactly right. So you could just put those guys on the practice squad and say, look, if we need those guys, we could just elevate them during the season. Now, the player has a choice here. If you're Tyrell Shavers, you've been with the Bills for 3 years now. This is your third year. You get to the end of camp, and they say, look, we're going to release you again, but we want to keep you on the practice squad so we can bring you up and elevate you and have that option. Tyrell Shavers may say, look, obviously I'm not cracking this team. I need to go elsewhere. And I know I could do that anyway as a practice squad member, but let me go and work out for other teams. I don't want to re-sign to the practice squad. The player has some control in that situation.
And then he could always, if he doesn't find what he likes, if the Bills keep the light on for him, he could always circle back and end up on the practice squad. That's
exactly right. So I don't think you have to rush to get those guys on. If you like Tyrell Shavers enough, if you like Laviska Shenault enough for what he can provide you,
right?
What's really the danger of losing them? And if you do, are you really that totally concerned about it? I don't think you're concerned so much that you have to keep him on the roster. Now, there are guys like that you do have to kind of concern yourself with a little bit, right? And say, okay, if we don't keep this guy, are we going to wind up losing him? I'll give you an example. To me, like Dorian Strong to be this guy. Dorian Strong is a 6th-round draft pick. I mean, it's a crowded cornerback room. But if you waive Dorian Strong, it's a very likely outcome is someone's claiming him, and you just spent a 6th-round pick on a guy that you thought maybe could make your team and help you, and because of numbers, you didn't, and then you lose them. This happened to Alex Austin a few years ago, who wound up then picking off Josh Allen in the game a couple years later, right, or that year. But, not that he's become a great player, but these things happen. Like those decisions are real at the end of training camp.
Sal, do you have a kind of a feel for what the Samuel dead cap penalty would mean in this equation? It's $12 million, $9 million cap hit, $12 million dead. Are the Bills a kind of team where they're at right now in terms of the cap where that would mean a lot? It's not a small number, I know.
I think it's 8.6 now. It's post June 1st, Mike.
Okay.
I think the pre-June 1st. I'm looking at over the cap. His dead money on a release pre-June 1st would have been $12 million. His post-June 1st would have been $8.6 million. I don't think the Bills want to carry all this dead money, a ton of it, but I think they're at a spot now where they've been much more willing to if it's going to help the team, and they would save $500,000. Is that enough to make a dent? I just feel like they would think it's not a great investment, especially considering this is a player, I think, judging by the way they've talked about him, this goes beyond money for me. To me, I think Curtis Samuel, I've just heard a lot of clues and cues from them, Josh Allen talking about him, Brandon Beane talking about him, that they really believe, Joe Brady, that he just wasn't able to be integrated because of the toe injury and how it impacted him last year. And I think that they really felt and feel still that he can be a really important part of what they do. I don't know, I want to say big part, like what does that mean, like snaps-wise, but just to make a matchup, put him in the backfield, put him in the slot, put him outside, have that ability in different downs and distances to be able to use him the way they wanted to and they weren't able to.
Right. Okay. How does Kincaid figure in here as we get things rolling? In your article, tight end, Kincaid, his strength. I'd like to hear you elaborate on that. Are you thinking that maybe one of the first storylines of camp is what he looks like and what they say about any changes to his, strength or whatever?
I do. I think that one of the first things we're going to be looking at and fans will be looking at, and you're going to get a lot of people analyzing this, and there's going to be Zapruder film on this guy, right? Going like, okay, look at his bicep a little bit bigger, look at his pecs a little bit bigger, and oh no, his legs didn't get bigger.
What kind of braces does he have on, or wraps, or whatever, right?
Exactly. Right. So we're going to see all of that. I think fans do want to see, media's going to want to see, everybody's going to want to see how and know that he's gotten bigger and stronger, and that he's more durable. He's overcome the knee injuries. Like, that's going to be a big part of it. It's not just what he physically looks like when he walks onto the practice field. It's also, what does he look like when he's running down the seam? Is there any hitch right there? Is he going off the field every once in a while to talk to trainers? All of that matters because this is a really important player for the Bills. They made him a first-round pick a couple years ago. He had a really nice rookie year. He set, franchise records for rookies and tight ends. And then it just didn't happen last year because of a lot of it was because of the injuries. And then we heard at the end of the year the play strength and being able to do that. So I do think to me, that is the storyline at tight end. It is Dalton Kincaid's size and health. That is a storyline, though, that becomes one right away. We all watch, we analyze, and then it kind of goes away. And then it becomes one again when the regular season starts.
Right. Sal will be shooting this video and then selling it to Life magazine within a few hours to capitalize. A la Zapruder.
Life magazine. Love it. Sal, you mentioned backup quarterback right at the outset of this conversation, and we just sort of ran past it and kept going. I recognize that nobody's taken a snap yet, at least in the summer. I mean, we had spring and OTAs and minicamp and whatever. I'm not a Trubisky believer at all. Like, I just think they're in, obviously, look, the drop-off is enormous no matter who you're going to have, most likely. But I'm pretty much done with Trubisky. Do you think White is live to win that job?
I do. I just wonder how live. I think he'll get his shot, Bulldog. I think this will come down to preseason. It'll come down to how these guys play in the preseason, where they're both going to get opportunities. But I think that Mike White has a shot here. The Bills went out and grabbed him and, brought him in last year during preseason, and they liked him enough at the end of the year. They wanted him to play a little bit. Now, look, some of this was – remember the whole situation with he had already been out of elevations, so they couldn't bring him up, and yet you didn't want all these guys in Week 18 to have the play, so how do you do this? Well, what they did was they said, all right, so we're just going to sign him to a contract. But to do that, we're going to sign him to a 2-year deal, which one game last year counted as the first year. And then now here's your second year. So he's under contract. He's ready to go. Mitch Trubisky's under contract for one more year each. I do think that Mike White has an opportunity here. Now, handicapping it, I think they feel comfortable with Mitch Trubisky. He's been a starter in this league. He's had a little bit of success in this league. Mike White's been a career backup. So from that standpoint, yeah, it's probably leaning Trubisky. But I think Mike White has a shot here. Look, guys, I know it sounds crazy. They really like Shane Buechele. I can tell you that. I just don't think that he's ready to be able to be thrust into having that particular type of opportunity. Right. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe 2 weeks into camp we're going, Shane Buechele's getting a little bit more run than I thought. I'll just say it that way because I do know they like Shane Buechele a lot. They love his toughness. They love his moxie. He was in Kansas City with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, and he comes to Buffalo. And, I think all of it put together that you're probably looking at least us talking about who the backup quarterback is a couple of weeks into camp.
Allen in the preseason, you think he gets a quarter or less in the home game and that's it? Or would you guess differently?
I wonder. Yeah, that probably makes sense, Mike. I'm thinking out loud about the Chicago game and joint practice. If you remember last year, the Bills went to Pittsburgh. They had the joint practice on Friday. They had the game on Sunday, or it was Thursday, Saturday, whichever it was. They had the game. Josh was going to play, but the field got really wet. Right. Remember pregame? Yep. And he did not play in that game, so therefore he didn't play at all. And I wonder if that's the plan again. Hey, let Josh give him the joint practice, and that maybe the joint practice is a good spot to kind of let him see what's going on, kind of a little mini game plan or whatever. Let's utilize that in the game, give him some opportunity so they know what's coming. Maybe that's something that they wind up doing. That's a national TV game, by the way, in Chicago on a Sunday night. Not that necessarily matters, but, if you're talking about home games, maybe something like that comes into play. So I think it's one or the other. It's certainly not going to be week 3 against Tampa, I would think. I mean, by then, you're looking at the other 3 guys we talked about.
Yeah, or maybe even another guy that isn't on the team right now that they just bring in to throw passes in that last game and then send him on his way.
It's happened before.
Right.
Sal, are you you're just back, I know, but are you following the Yankees cheating scandal?
No, this is the first time hearing about what's going on here.
I don't know of a Yankees cheating scandal either.
They recently played Seattle, and the Mariners played a huge inning and a comeback in this game, and the Mariners complained that they were the runner on first could see the pitcher's grip, and there'd be a runner on second, and you see the Yankees base runners just gesticulating kind of wildly, like they're communicating with each other what the pitch is going to be. And they just sort of blew up this Mariners reliever, and then they went to Atlanta this weekend, and yesterday there was more of this. Yeah, there was more of this yesterday. So even though the catcher isn't putting fingers down for the sign,
right,
teams are, as they would,
finding an edge,
finding other ways to, Aaron Boone said it's like a part of the game. They didn't exactly hide from it, but finding ways to find edges. So right now, though, the Yankees I think are the team for this that. Other teams are rankled by.
Well, what I did see was I was watching the series this weekend, and Jazz Chisholm was getting into it with somebody.
That was why.
And you're right, and he's getting into every game it seems like. And he was pointing in the dugout, and he was doing stop your yapping, go away. Then he was pointing to his head. Remember the whole
yes.
Pedro and Posada.
I'm in your head, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Or it was more like I'm going to throw it, you're going to throw it, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And nobody kind of knew. And then they had extra video footage of the Braves manager or somebody in the dugout, one of the coaches. Mm-hmm. They were going at it with Jazz. And then they went back and traced where did this start. And Jazz was on second doing what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Mike, right? He was kind of relaying the signal. So I think this is all kind of born from all of that. So I don't know. I don't know where all this goes. I did see that. I don't know. I haven't seen it labeled as cheating in any way. I do think that there's some sort of, while you're relaying these signs and, how you're doing all this and, don't point at my head. I do know this. The Yankees have a monster series starting tonight in Toronto.
Yes.
Toronto's 3 games up. And, they could really take a stranglehold of the East, or the Yankees could catch them. And it's such a big series. The Yankees basically intentionally came out of the break, went to Atlanta, and set up their rotation to make sure that they have Rodon and Fried going against the Blue Jays.
Yep. Jays are really hot. So that'll be cool.
I may want to alter my position on this at a future date should the subject come up again, but I think as long as you're not using garbage cans and video cameras, I'm okay. Like if you trust your base runners to discern the pitcher's grip, all right. I mean,
Raleigh for Seattle, the big dumper, as you like to call him, home run derby, all that. He said basically it's on us.
Yeah.
So he said both things. We got to do better at
concealing that and
concealing.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Mike, do you watch? I know you watch some of the broadcasts. Do you like Joe Girardi as a analyst?
I do. In one way, I mean, he knows a lot, obviously.
Yeah.
He comes off to me like somebody he's not trying to impress. A lot of these guys are just sort of like they know all the phrases and they just sort of they're forcing it a little bit. I don't think Girardi cares about that, so I like him for that.
Yeah, he did the games against Atlanta, and I really enjoyed listening to him, and I have in the past, but he talked about this, and he said, hey, and I get he's on the Yankees broadcast. We'll take it with that. But he did say, hey, as a manager and catcher, he said, my philosophy has always been make sure they can't take your signs. That's on you. You got to figure out a way to make sure that they're not taking them and stealing them and relaying them. So he agreed. Hey, that's on us. We got to figure out a better way to do that if they're able to pick them up.
I also like that Girardi is a good listener. It's the number one thing in all of this. And once in a while, you'll hear him. Michael Kay will say something, and you'll say, "Why do you think that?" And that can be a good conversation. Mm-hmm. Everybody should have to be able to defend, what they say. And he's, I think, sort of smart enough, but also at ease enough to be able to I'm not thinking about the next thing necessarily. I'm just listening to you.
Right. Yeah.
So I like him for that too. Sal, we like listening to you as well. Welcome back, and it's going to be a fun week.
It's going to be really fun, and I'll have my one storyline for every defensive position tonight, and we can talk about that tomorrow.
Okay. Great.
What is real quick? What's the best thing you did? What's the thing? Like somebody you run into a listener, like how was Italy? Like what's the thing you're going to tell them?
Thing I'm going to tell them. Boy, it was so good. You know, here's what I say. A really kind of a minor, just unbelievable to think about. Just to put this in your brain. We went to a lot of cities. I loved Rome. I loved Florence. I think Rome and Florence were my favorites, even though Venice was amazing. Lake Como was amazing. Mm-hmm. I'm a history buff. I love history, and I think that's why I love Rome. But we go to Assisi, which is like this very, very quaint, like religious town in Perugia, and it's just really quiet and awesome. Churches everywhere. And we walk through the gates, and there's a walking tour we're taking, and the woman giving the walking tour says, okay, this wall you just passed, it has the gate, that dates to 300 years before Christ. I mean, what are we doing? That's unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
My house is built in 1901. I tell people how old my house is.
Right. I know. Right.
Right?
Yeah. Europe has that. Yeah. You can't.
Yeah.
Right. They got scoreboard on that.
I saw the tweet of this picture, by the way. I couldn't believe there'd be slot machines lined up against that wall, but that sign of the times. I suppose that's just how
the church
life
has
is
to
now.
raise money however they can.
That's right.
Yeah, did you see the other picture? The craziest, wildest part about this trip might have been we were walking in Florence, and this guy is coming the other way, and he stops the group, and he goes, hey, Bills. People are wearing Bills gear, Bills shirts. Hey, Bills Mafia, Bills. We're like, oh, you're a Bills fan? And he says, I'm one of the new minority owners with Terry Pagula.
Yep.
And he happened to be in Florence and noticed us. His name is Mike Jew. He is a higher up at Bank of America, and sure enough, it checked out, and I started talking to him. It was great. I mean, someone says that, you don't know, right?
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, it's this dude, yep.
Oh, you're a Bills fan? I'm literally James Cook, actually. I can't believe you don't recognize me. Very good. Thanks for your time, Sal.
You got it.
That's Sal Capacio on the Western Hotline. His appearances always brought to you by New York's only outlet liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
Time for a break. 803-0550, your top storylines for camp. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at WGR.
Starts this week. It'll get going on Wednesday from St. John Fisher University. Sal Capacio, in preparation, does have a piece up at our website, WGR550.com, on the storylines to follow on the offensive side of the ball. Also, stay tuned. Sal will put up his defensive side of the ball piece later tonight or tomorrow. So again, keep an eye on that. And coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Figo Car and Joy, Shore Border Attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up to see a place to buy a case, what's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys, and driven by your Upstate Honda dealers. For great deals on the entire Honda lineup, visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. Titans quarterback Will Levis is going to miss the entire 2025 season as he's undergoing shoulder surgery, an injury that dates back to last season. And then a packed night of baseball. Just after 7 o'clock, the Jays host the New York Yankees, while the Mets have the Angels in town. And then the Bisons, they are off tonight, but we'll get a 6-game road series against Columbus going tomorrow afternoon. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Just because we sign him doesn't mean we're going to have him. He was hurt 6 games last year. Seriously. We've signed, I remember signing a player for the highest paid at the position in the league, and he got knocked out 2/3 of the year, Dak Prescott. So there's a lot of things you can think about when you, just as the player does, when you're thinking about committing and guaranteeing money.
Jerry Jones.
Well, is he like the guy sitting across the table when the agent is, working, negotiating that? Because there's got to be like an undercurrent of conversation within that community that's just like, they got to do something. They got to do something. I don't think it's all. I'm not even making fun of him. I mean, he's old. It happens. There's going to be slippage. I don't know. I'd be worried about that if I were a Cowboys fan. Maybe they are. I mean, I'm stating the obvious, I guess. I don't know, man. That's not a message you need to put out there in any way, shape, or form. Trying to negotiate a contract with a guy. Yeah, he was hurt last year, and like you said earlier, he didn't even get the number of games right.
And he mentions Prescott too. Along the way, J.J. Watt tweeted about that. Anytime you can get shots in on your most important guys that are getting hurt, fighting for your team, you got to do it. Words to that effect.
Yeah.
Micah Parsons retweeted the J.J. Watt tweet, by the way. Mm-hmm. So it's not lost on him.
Right.
Well, he's the GM, so he's probably in the room.
Right.
He literally is. Owner, president, and general manager, age 82. He's in the Hall of Fame. Also.
All right. Golf clap for that.
What is the legacy there? It's the most valuable sports franchise in the world, almost. Certainly in the NFL. That's part of it.
Mm-hmm. His legacy is stadiums, I think, around the league.
Maybe.
Not just Dallas. I mean, of course, they built a beautiful place there, but I think for me in Buffalo, New York, his legacy is I have to keep up with him, and that's a problem for me. But, that's stabilized. But for a lot of my adult life, it was, do I belong in a league where that's the standard financially? Like, do I belong there? Turns out we still do, and I'm grateful for that. But yeah, I think, and so that legacy can cut both ways, but mostly it's success, right? He's pushed the league to record revenues and all these stadiums and all this stuff, and I think he probably gets a lot of the credit for making teams keep up with him. It's funny that his name is Jones. Keep up with the Joneses, but I think that's
where the expression comes from,
and I think that's largely positive. I mean, I'm sort of positioning it here as somewhat of a negative from my perspective in Buffalo, feeling threatened by his presence. I feel like he's a reason. The Dallas Cowboys are a reason why the Bills played home games in Toronto. And again, like that was not a pleasant time for us, but overall, I think he's forced the league almost at his financial gunpoint to keep up. And the results, I think, speak for themselves.
Well, they've had many good years since the Aikman teams, but Troy Aikman was their starting quarterback in their last NFC Championship game. Not even Super Bowl. NFC Championship. 1995 is the last Dallas team to make the semis. 30 years. With all that wealth and power and guys that want to play here, there'd still be a lot of that.
Right.
It's Dallas. But 30 years since the semis. I mean, the Sabres have topped that. They've been in the semis 4 times since the Cowboys have last done it. Bam!
Yeah, that's right.
That was the quietest little punch. I got no sound out of that
much
the
better
first
the
time.
second time around. Yeah, good.
Still wasn't much.
Well, that's life on the wire.
Dak Prescott has 2 playoff wins. What year is that draft?
Holy cow, that's E.J. Manuel.
13?
Isn't it? Or is it the year before the No, the Bills. They took the Ohio State guy.
Cardale.
Yeah, Cardale Jones. Prescott, I think, was in that draft.
And, of course, as you get shortly thereafter, once Prescott's good, it was, the Bills actually wanted Prescott.
They really liked it.
You know what, then? Drought Bills, don't wait until the supplemental 4th round to address your, by far, most important position. I mean, you could gamble and pick the guy in round 3. I'm sure there was some guard we needed, but you could have done that. I mean, I don't want to hear about how you wanted Dak Prescott. If the Bills had drafted...
Good thing they didn't do it. They probably wouldn't have found their way to Josh Allen.
That's what I was about to ask. If the Bills... This is exactly the question you were driving around this morning hoping that Jeremy would ask. If the Bills had drafted Dak Prescott in 2013, would he still be the quarterback of the Bills? And who would be their coach?
Oh, would he have made it out of the drought? I'm going to say no. He would have pulled the chute. The results wouldn't have been there. They would have gotten antsy. New coach, new GM, second or third time you go through that dance, like, I need my own guy. So I'm saying no.
Is that the right year? 16 draft.
Oh, okay. So it's after the EJ thing.
Yeah,
but
that was my mistake because we already established that it was 16.
Okay.
And in 16, I mean that's Tyrod Taylor, that's Rex.
Right.
Well, there would have been there was room for somebody to move in on Tyrod Taylor.
But they did take Cardale Jones instead that year. That's the same draft. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
That's right. 4 picks later.
Remember dreaming about him, whether he could be any good? Like he's going to play. Oh, he's going to play this game against the Jets, right? Is there a Jet season finale he got in?
Yes.
Like, we'll see if this is nope.
Is that the game where Rex had been fired? Anthony Lynn? Maybe is that the same game?
That might track.
I heard his name one day last week, Cardale Jones, playing in the XFL, whenever this was. Evan Silva was talking about it on his podcast. It was through the Chargers, some college thing, I forget. But his name was mentioned. And whenever I hear the name Cardale Jones, I think of what probably was my worst take ever, which was a day at 716.
This is really going to be saying something.
Why shouldn't he just go first overall? Quarterback is so important. You can get so married to quarterback being so important. And all my hits. Nobody knows anything. Quarterback is everything. I've got a guy on the national champions, and he's the quarterback. And what? He's just not going to be fit for the NFL? What is he? You're trying to pick him in the 4th round? Like, that's insane. I thought there was an argument for Cardale Jones at 101 in this draft.
Well, nobody knows everything, but they maybe got that right.
Why would you pick Jared Goff or Carson Wentz when you could pick Cardale Jones, who's one more? I hope I didn't say that, but still,
Yeah.
North Dakota.
We're playing at Ohio State versus North Dakota.
Ohio State.
Yeah.
Zeke was on the team. He's in that draft too. Bosa. Top 5 picks in 16. Oh, so timely. Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, Joey Bosa, Zeke, Jalen Ramsey. The Bills picked Shaq Lawson at 19.
It's a pretty good top 5.
It's pretty good. Yep.
I mean, Wentz derailed, obviously, but.
And Zeke had a career.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
I think it's
yeah,
over.
I would never want to pick a running back that high, but still, he was really good.
We knew that then.
Yes, we did.
6, Ronnie Stanley. Still hanging in there for Baltimore.
Yeah.
That's the team that drafted him. 7, DeForest Buckner has been great forever.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Jack Conklin, Leonard Floyd, Eli Apple, Tunsil at 13. That's now we can put our. Now we know where we were.
Yes, Tunsil's gas mask.
Now we know where we were. I know the bar I was at for Shaq Lawson and Rex in the Clemson helmet. Right? That was this, wasn't it? And didn't he have a son at Clemson at the time?
Yes. His son was the placeholder, I think, for backup quarterback and placeholder, or whatever. He held for kicks.
Quarterbacks went 1-2. Can you name the third quarterback picked that year? It was in round 1, and I think it was by trade. Pick 26. So kind of like Dart this year, around the same kind of move. I don't want to say the team yet. I think it was a trade. Not positive of that. It's when that happens.
Yeah, I don't have it.
Paxton Lynch.
Oh, my. Yeah.
So this is the Prescott draft. Continuing at quarterback quickly. Christian Hackenberg.
Oh, you loved him, too, for a minute.
I loved him for a minute. Yep. Did not play a game in the league.
Right.
I mean, is that bad? And who was the Baylor guy the Jets had? Bryce Petty.
Yes, that's it.
Bryce Petty.
Yep.
Around the same time. So that's quarterback 4, Jacoby Brissett. Unless I skipped somebody, I'm just going by Wikipedia here. Brissett to New England. And then Cody Kessler, late 3rd. Connor Cook to the Raiders, early 4th.
Connor Cook, Michigan State?
Yeah. And then...
I just like testing myself every now and then if I can remember some random college quarterback's team.
End of Forrest Prescott, and then Cardale Jones 4 picks later. End of the 4th round.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2016 NFL Draft quarterbacks.
Late 5th, Tyreek Hill.
That's worked out all right.
They gave him a chance.
Yeah.
Brandon Allen in the 6th round. I'm sorry, I said this would be quick. Brandon Allen in the 6th round, who is the Titans' backup right now.
Because Levis is having surgery.
Levis is out for the year. I can't know if he doesn't need the surgery, but that's very convenient for everybody. Sort of good for him.
Mm-hmm.
And, then he's off their books, and we'll see in a year who needs somebody. Maybe somebody will take a flyer on him.
Somebody absolutely will. He'll get a clean start somewhere. Not as like walking in the door as a starter, but still, he's going to get a clean slate somewhere.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at 803-0550. This is WGR. It's fire season. Doesn't take much for a spark. did it. We got to training camp week. The Bills are still not in until Wednesday, but there's plenty of news. Not all of it is, fun to think about. Kinshawn Judkins, Rashee Rice with Kansas City. Judkins, the rookie with the Browns. Accusations are pretty severe. Injuries. Chris Godwin is not ready.
Addison, too, had a thing last week, right? There was some progress in his legal thing that was, I think, I got the impression that a suspension could be incoming for him as well.
I believe that will happen. Rice for sure. Godwin today is, he's not ready to start camp yet. Ankle from last year. And when Sal was on to talk about Kincaid, I guess there's really no risk of that with him.
I think he went through the spring, normal workload, I think.
So that would be a very bad sign if he wasn't ready physically to go on Wednesday. I don't know. I'm not telling you I'm expecting that. It's just he's a guy who's coming off.
There was some
injuries.
chatter while I was away about Landon Jackson, their third-round pick, needing to start on PUP, and I don't know that they've changed that, but he, I guess, was at a big fan event over the weekend, and I saw footage of him talking about, I'm good, I'll be good, I should be good to go first day of camp. So we'll see if they take him off of that list, but I think maybe that's incoming.
I wonder why they needed to do it then.
Yeah.
They haven't had any practices in between. I'm not sure what the ramifications of that might be. And so in terms of drafts, as you know, Bulldog, it is kind of the beginning of clock squatting season.
What's that now?
Well, in slow drafts, you might get 8 hours. And before camp, you're not expecting there to be any news. So really, there's no need to take 8 hours.
But once camps start, you wait to see before. You don't make a pick until you have to make a pick in case something happens after you've made the pick and you left 4 hours on the vine or 20 minutes.
Right, and I am the type to not want to wait. Because if I wait, I might forget and get autoed. And I don't want that. But a guy in a big one I'm in just drafted Godwin. And, he probably knew. It's a little bit past ADP. He probably knew. But I'd want to draft Ibuka over Godwin. I think that pick, Tampa Bay, was criticized. Why do you need this guy? Evans, Godwin, McMillan even. Why would you need him? And I thought the best point, the counterpoint to that was age. We are leaning into what we're good at. They treat receiver kind of the opposite, mostly the opposite of how the Bills do.
Mike Evans is the Sammy Watkins draft.
Yes, it is.
I mean, doesn't that seem like forever ago?
Oh, let's pull up another old draft, baby. Right. That's 13, isn't it? Beckham, Watkins.
Well, it's the year after Manuel, so it's 14. Right, Manuel is the 13 draft.
We're not going to do this again.
No, but I'm sure of it. Manuel's the 13 draft, and then the year after they picked
14.
Watkins, and it made me mad because they should not have been sold on Manuel at that point.
14 is correct. What quarterback was picked one pick before Watkins at third? The only quarterbacks picked in that first round were Johnny Manziel, Teddy Bridgewater trading up the last spot, Minnesota.
No, I don't have it. I was going to say Jake Locker, but that's not right.
Blake Bortles.
Okay.
Third overall.
Kind of the same.
Yeah, kind of the same. Bortles did a lot more.
Bortles got to an AFC championship game.
And had a lead in the fourth quarter.
Right.
At Foxborough.
Stephon
Gilmore got him. Yep. We'll talk about 2025 before we're done today. Not just old drafts, although old drafts are really fun. Lines are open for your calls. What you're most interested in, perhaps, as camp starts. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Buffalo Bills training camp starts this week. It'll get going on Wednesday, and in preparation for that, Sal Capacio has a piece up at our website, WGR550.com, on the storylines to follow for the offensive side of the ball. Do stay tuned. Sal will also be releasing a storylines to follow for the defensive side of the ball either tonight or tomorrow morning. And coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys, and driven by your Upstate Honda dealers. For great deals on the entire Honda lineup, visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. Titans quarterback Will Levis undergoing shoulder surgery. He is going to be missing the entire 2025 season. This injury, though, does date back to last year. Surgery comes after Levis was unable to shake the discomfort. And Cowboys edge rusher Micah Parsons does report to Cowboys camp as he looks for a new deal. He is on the last year of his rookie contract. And then a packed night of baseball just after 7 o'clock. The Jays are hosting the New York Yankees while the Mets have the Angels in town. And then the Bisons, they are off tonight, but tomorrow they will get going a 6-game road series against Columbus. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp.
Hey, put a little. I never get this line out the first time. It's not even good. Hey, put a little bit more in there, cowboy.
And the Bulldog.
What's your degree in?
Kicking ass and taking names.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Bulldog is back. What did he miss last week? Well, I liked having the golf tournament. That brought Brian in 3 times, I guess, and you once. It was that big of an occasion for you to call in from your from your getaway. So we had the golf tournament.
From my getaway on Hurdle Avenue.
On Hurdle.
I was just back, but yeah.
I don't even know where that is. It's just, that one's always baffled me. Hurdle, you say? That one's always, hurdle like turtle? That one's always baffled me. Bills-wise, I mean, we didn't have Sal. We didn't have news, really, almost anything. But we still don't have any change to James Cook. Like that's, and I went back to that well a couple of times. And let me put this to you. What would you do? We had a couple of these topics on Cook. One was, what would you do if you were Cook?
Well, I raised the point about the timeline of the HBO, the Hard Knocks thing with Sal an hour ago, because you might guess this. I think I said as much. My thinking is, if you want to try to make hearts and minds, right? Are you trying to get people on your side? Again, how much that matters in reality, I don't know. It doesn't have to mean nothing. I don't think it means more than a little, but still, you might want to make a point. And if they're going to be there filming the start of camp, and the first episode comes out almost 2 weeks into camp, I don't know, maybe you wait out, you hold in until they're done filming for that first episode, and you're holding in there. You're there, but they're going to show you sitting sullenly off in the corner, or, standing at the practice field in sweatpants while your teammates are out there working, and the narrator's going to be telling us about what his demands are thought to be and what Delvin Cook went through, his older brother, and whatever. If I'm Cook and I want to make a point, I might want to use that vehicle to help make it.
Does it work?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how impactful it ends up being, but he has very little other than just not playing at all, which I just do not think is realistic. I think even in this scenario where he withholds his services for a week or two, he eventually just gets up and running and plays the season without a contract, because that's the only move he has. He doesn't have any leverage, but he does have the media and a TV show that's going to be rolling, and sure, the Bills can put the kibosh on things that they don't want out there necessarily. To some extent, there is some editorial credence given to the team. So, like, how, telling it'll end up being remains to be seen as well. But I'm just thinking Cook might want to use that opportunity to at least try to make a point. And in the end, I think that ends up not meaning a lot, but I could see him wanting to at least try. I mean, he didn't make any point at all at minicamp other than being a good team guy. He showed up. He felt a responsibility. He said as much. He also said he didn't want to get fined, which is another reason why I'd be stunned if he's not here. Although that with the cameras here, maybe that's I don't know. Like, he's not around, and that's a storyline in of itself. Maybe that makes it worth paying the fine for a few days. I don't know. I just think when I thought about Hard Knocks and the start date and saw a video of them unloading the equipment to St. John Fisher to get ready, is that maybe Cook will try to use that as a platform. So, and I hadn't been thinking about him doing anything other than showing up and practicing. But now I feel like the hold-in is a little more realistic, and it's mostly, for me, springing from the Hard Knocks element.
Yeah, that is an interesting wrinkle. I feel like these shows are close enough to being team infomercials that I would think it would be tough for him to gain, fans on this subject to win points by not playing. I mean, the Bills are a happy team. Mm-hmm. Allen is the MVP. Allen is a superstar. And this show is going to be a lot about him. It'll be about his marriage. It'll be about winning the MVP award, golf tournaments, celebrity golf tournaments. Like, he's living the life. And who's close to Allen on this team as far as, like, mass appeal? Nobody. Like, the Bills are about him. So you're going to have Josh Allen in a ball cap, smiling and walking around, and they'll be reliving his amazing offseason, putting the perspective on what happened last year in Kansas City and how that's been the story. This team's fate has been decided by the Chiefs so often. Like, that's, I think, your show. By the way, this guy over here doesn't want to play. Has a contract, doesn't want to play. I mean, nobody's going to say it like that.
Right.
But I think Cook would be, by holding out, I'm not saying this is why he shouldn't do it necessarily, he would be the butt of the Bills here. Like, everything is, it's beautiful weather. Here we go.
All systems go, full speed ahead.
Great picture. Mm-hmm. Super Bowl favorites again, almost, just everything. Last year, the stadium, proud history of the team. This guy, though, doesn't want to play. I think I wouldn't come at all if that was my decision. I wouldn't want to be on the show because what am I going to be there in sweatpants?
Right. Yeah.
And I'm too good for this. I haven't thought a lot about Hard Knocks as a variable.
Yeah, I mean, I've landed on this, so I mean, I'll just run with it for a while. I hear what you're saying, but it is an opportunity for the player to get that story. Now, again, how much control, how objectively HBO is going to tell that story with the Bills' input, whispering in their ears. Again, I don't know. But if he's not there, then it's merely mentioned that he's not there. If he is there, they can talk to him. They can get his side of the story. They can show him standing sullenly watching practice. And I don't think he wins over tons of people, but it is just an opportunity to make the stand more public. A lot of people that aren't paying attention to James Cook's offseason may learn when they turn on Hard Knocks. Because I don't think, you have to be a hardcore football fan to watch that show. I would think casuals get pulled into that just as easily. Maybe people out there don't even know that he's mad about his contract. Or at least perceived to be mad about his contract. And so it's an opportunity for him to get that story out there.
Right. We don't even know if he's mad about his contract.
But if he's not there at all, I don't want to say it's an afterthought. I mean, he scored 16 touchdowns on the ground last year for this team. He's going to get mentioned if he's not there, but it feels to me like it'd be in passing, whereas there could be a whole episode about him if he's there but not participating. So I'm sort of maybe expecting. That's always been like my second most likely scenario is that he holds in. My first was that he shows up and just does everything.
I guess it's also where I want to say it doesn't have to matter. But if there's no Hard Knocks, it's Sal is out there. The fans are out there, but that's kind of as far as it goes. We're not telling Allen's and the Bills' story on a national platform that without that show. And I just think this is the part of the principled athlete who knows how many different ways the NFL owns their services. Here's Jerry Jones today. Why aren't we paying Micah Parsons? Well, he did get hurt. Well, how did he get hurt? I mean, playing for your team. That's right. The boxes are all sort of against the players, and I can respect Cook being like, yeah, I feel like I'm worth more than this.
Yeah.
But to have that be on a national stage, I mean, Pardon the Interruption runs clips and talks about what happens on Hard Knocks, and the Bills don't have really anything else to offer that you can chew on. That isn't Josh Allen great? Should they wear red helmets? I mean, really, what are the storylines? Sal's writing about storylines. What else is there? And this show will have to make it interesting, and he'll be one way to do that.
Right. I think he misses that opportunity if he doesn't show up.
And if I were he, I think that's better. Yeah. I think he still has the same. He doesn't have his face on it, and I'm not sure he would even do interviews if he were here but not practicing.
Well, in this scenario, I'm suggesting it would be smart for him to, like tactically, because you know how fans are. I know fans almost always side with ownership, which is still kind of mind-boggling, but I mean, this is how it goes. But if you've got a player that is of this level of importance to the team, relatively speaking, I mean, I think running backs are pretty replaceable, but not everybody feels that way. And he did score a bunch of touchdowns, and I'm anticipating, the team, whether it's Bean and McDermott or teammates like Allen or anyone else on the team, talking about how much we love this guy, how hard he's worked, he improved in these areas, all this stuff, and he's not there, he's not working. And I think for a lot of fans, that's the moment when it becomes real. Right? It's easy as the winter is going by, spring, summer, he wants this much money, and, you got fans on both sides of that issue. I just think fans will be swayable when they see it presented. If it's done in a dramatic, there's a team with Super Bowl aspirations and their running back who scored this many times, I think it's going to hit home for people in a different way watching it on the TV show. I could see a casual Bills fan who knows all the guys and everything, but isn't wrapped up in the day-to-day and whether Cook is going to get a contract or not, watching the TV and going, they got to pay this guy. What are we doing? They're trying to win the Super Bowl. You got to pay. You can't have him not playing.
Well, what?
And again, what does that amount to? I don't know.
You get back to whether you want to put this in the context of what percentage of people feel A or B. You get back to what really is his value. Would people ponder for the first time in their lives James Cook holding out on the Bills and think this means anything to their chances?
I think a lot of people would.
Really?
Yes. If presented in the right dramatic context on that show. I think when you see something on TV, it becomes more real. When you see video, it becomes more real. It just is a different thing than us talking about it on the radio. I don't know why that works that way, but I think it does. So I don't know how many people. I'm here. This is where I'm standing. I think he'd be.
Would you feel that way, though?
Absolutely not.
No, me neither.
No, of course not.
What do you think?
But I'm not a casual fan. I'm a psycho.
You're more qualified.
Oh, okay.
Your opinion is more qualified because of the extent to which you know.
Okay, thank you. So what I'm talking about is people who aren't qualified, who are just going to be sitting on their couches watching the Bills being mean to their second best offensive player. And suddenly, hey, maybe James Cook's got a point.
Most fans, did you already say this? Most fans, I think, believe even strongly, you signed a deal, honor it.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. So somebody could think they're being mean to him. Most people, in my opinion, would think he's in the wrong. It isn't how our lives are. It isn't relatable. He's got a chance to, maybe, we don't know what the Bills think, he thinks he might have a chance to triple his income and get years and be done. This is my moment.
Mm-hmm.
This happens a lot. And that's all understandable. if that's where he's at. But most of us see it as you signed a piece of paper that said you would play for this amount of money. Why aren't you playing? And would resent him. I think if it's without Hard Knocks, it's still mostly a local story.
Yes, that's all I'm saying.
It's on Channel 2.
It becomes a national story to a larger extent. Again, like football media has been reporting on whatever James Cook has been tweeting and stuff. But yeah, it's a chance for him to plant a flag and try to get some people on his side. I don't know how successful it'll be, but to me, if you're going to run this race like he has already, it's at least worth trying that.
I think you have to. I said last week, I think he's just sort of weak if he doesn't at least skip one practice.
Right.
I mean, what was it all about? It should maybe also be mentioned when Sal was on with us earlier talking about Cook, he was like, we had him here for that press conference during minicamp, and I didn't really understand what his position was. He didn't exactly make it obvious, make it clear. Not everybody's good in that setting, explaining what their principles are and why they're doing what they're doing. Sal seemed to come off as confused by Cook when he had that chance most recently. So maybe Cook does. That's why I say maybe he doesn't even know what he wants or what he's willing to do to get his contract. Well,
I just think you get like a 5 or 6 minute piece of that show that is teammates talking about what a good guy and hard worker he is and how important he is to the team. And while they're talking, they're showing highlights of him running away from dudes in Miami and springboarding off his one wrist into the end zone in Kansas City in the AFC title game. And then there's a clip of him talking about how he just wants to be paid what he thinks he's worth, commensurate with the rest of the league or whatever. And I think there are fans out there that could be swayed by that. That's all I'm saying. And I don't know how impactful that ends up being. Like, do the Bills care about that? If some of their fans are watching the TV show feeling sympathy maybe for the first time for James Cook, maybe they don't care at all. But if I'm Cook, I think I want the TV show. Like I've gone. Well, I don't even know what it means to say I've gone this far. He hasn't really done anything.
He hasn't gone.
He tweeted
anywhere.
That's it. That's all he ever did. But I don't know if you want to make your point. There's a stage being prepared for you, is all I'm saying. And maybe take it.
Well, that was one question. What would you do if you were Cook? And you would...
I think I would
push a little bit.
I would show up and I would hope that somewhere within the production of the show, I get a sympathetic few minutes that could change, get some people on his side, so to speak.
Another question we did was... what do you think the Bills want? Like, what is their best case scenario? And you might say that he just shows up and there is no, because you've said this is yours.
Yes.
That you don't think they should give him a new deal, that they should just expect him to play on his deal and that he probably will. And I don't quite agree. I think the Bills, my guess would be that they want a new 2 or 3 or 4 year deal, probably not 4. They'd want to extend him, but at their number, whatever that might be, somewhere like 9.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Bills would want to do that. They're almost always in this situation, they have made that move. They have kept their guys in. Knox. I mean, guys when it wasn't even necessarily needed, except for older guys. Hayden Poyer ran out, but the guys like off their rookie deals, this is what the Bills do, is they find common ground, and in this case, they have not yet. But that's to assume that they want that from Cook, and I'm not sure I'm right. They might not want to do anything.
I'm inclined to agree. I would want to. I think I'd assume that they would like something, just for the peace to be kept. Right? Everybody's happy. We don't have any distractions. It's another Super Bowl winning year. That's the goal. 1 seed, all the stuff. We just don't want any stuff. So yeah, if we could get him for 3 for $30, maybe they'd do it, and they'd be happy with that. It's, to me, the second best scenario. The best scenario is he plays out the year. And I replace him with Ray Davis and Ty Johnson and a draft pick next year, or a mid, 27-year-old free agent.
You're bringing in Tony Pollard? Is that what you're saying?
Whatever. I don't know. Whatever. I'm going to find another guy, because while $10 million isn't outrageous for a starting caliber player, although careful with starter. I mean, it's still less than half the snaps, but either way, it's not a back-breaking contract. But I don't think I need to do it.
He's the starter, but he's not the finisher. Season on the line last year, he had about as good a view as we did.
Yeah. A little better. He was on the sideline.
Well, you can't see anything from the sideline. You'd rather watch a game from the sideline or on TV? Way better on TV. Come on. That's why you don't want to sit in the front row at Bills games, right?
But if you're on the sideline with no one in front of you, that's a pretty good view.
That's fair.
Sideline seats down first, second row, you got the whole bench there, and that's not a great view.
What you'd want to know is, as you're watching the game on TV, you sometimes can know who's open. Well, that's actually not exactly right, because you don't get to see the secondary.
Right.
When you're sitting in the 300s.
Yes.
You can see everything.
Which way the safety goes immediately. There's the guy.
That's right.
Right.
Most of the stadium offers you that.
Yeah.
Not the sideline. Unless it's your sideline, the guy running a 9 route or something right in front of you.
Yeah.
Then you're screaming, Josh!
And he
can't hear you.
You
can't hear anybody.
You're like a wayward parent screaming at their kid at Little League.
Oh, yeah.
They can never hear you. It's just noise.
Get it out! Right. Can't hear that.
Right.
No.
Throw it to second, but somebody else is yelling, throw it to third. And great.
Everybody's yelling different bases.
It's all very helpful. Yeah.
Your buddy Adam Krautwurst was telling me that yesterday his team's he's a coach. He coaches soccer, and his team's soccer team ended on in the championship on penalty kicks.
Ooh.
And when I heard that, I'm like, that might be the cruelest loss in sports. Is you get to the finals in soccer, and you can't decide a winner, and you get to penalties, and you have to lose like that.
Right. Because it's more than likely, sure, people who score are going to be congratulated, but the person who misses is going to be feeling terrible.
Yeah, that's
a different level of terrible, I think.
Right, the person who might be the one. But yeah, just that's not really soccer.
No.
So you don't want to lose like that. He asked me if lacrosse had shootouts. I'm like, no, but they'd be hilarious. Because indoor, at least, would be hilarious because some of these games nobody can ever score. The goalie is twice the size of the net.
Right.
That could take a long time.
Or you could play a 20-minute overtime before you could get through a shootout and get a result, maybe.
Maybe. I was at one game that went to the very last second of 2 overtimes in that sport this year, and my guy his team was on next. And you're that parent, you're like, can we just
let's wrap it up.
Let's just move this
thing.
The goal went in right at 0. I'm like, give it to him.
Let's review it.
We got to go. Let's review it. They did have that. Not officials didn't, but the parents were like, we're going to see this on Live Bar, and you're going to know that was late. I did not find out how that ended. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog at 803-0550. Bills camp opening on Wednesday. We'll talk some more about that after this here on WGR.
up at our website, WGR550.com. Storylines to follow on the offensive side of the ball. Do stay tuned. Sal will also have storylines to follow on the defensive side of the ball either tonight or tomorrow morning. And coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher is brought to you by Figo Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. And driven by your Upstate Honda dealers. For great deals on the entire Honda lineup, visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. Titans quarterback Will Levis undergoing season-ending shoulder surgery. This injury, though, does date back to last year, and the surgery comes after Levis was unable to shake the discomfort. And the Packers give offensive tackle Zach Tom a 4-year, $88 million extension, and that deal does include $30.2 million signing bonus. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
I want to go chase the highest of the highest, like, and I'm gonna keep doing it, like, and I'm gonna stand on what I stand on, like, and I don't want to feel like a cancer at all, cause I don't like all that attention and all that, like, that's not me, like, honestly, like, and I'm just standing on business, man.
James Cook on a podcast called The Nightcap. I can see maybe why Sal would have said what he said earlier, just really not knowing where this ends up, you know? Highest highs, okay. Just trying to do this, okay. What I stand for, but I don't want to be a cancer. What are you going to do? How do you expect to get your money?
Right.
I mean, maybe, again, I still have thought this the whole time, that probably there's a compromise, because the Bills wouldn't, in my opinion, wouldn't want to have it just go into the season. But he doesn't exactly... He's not Marvin Miller.
He's not like Doug. He doesn't sound real dug in.
He doesn't sound that dug in, yes. That's probably better than referencing the former Major League Baseball Players Association head from the 60s. It's better your way.
As the show ever sounded old.
I know. Tucker is with us. Hello, Tucker.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for calling, Tucker.
Of course. I just wanted to get your thoughts on, because I know you guys were talking about James Cook, the potential that the Bills are going to franchise tag him next year after his deal is up, if that's what they're kind of on track to do, kind of like how the Bengals were doing with T. Higgins. I want to get your thoughts on that.
I'd be very surprised unless I can't even get the unless out. He has a year that's just so outrageously great. And maybe they win the Super Bowl, maybe they don't. I don't know. Guys that can cut both ways. Like, if we won it already, I'm not going to pay a running back $15 million. See you later. And they feel so stuck. He has this great year. Maybe they win it, and they just can't bear the thought of him walking out the door after a second incredible. He duplicates last year, but there's more yards, say, or something, or whatever. I think even then, I just don't think they'd want to spend that much for 1 year and create the acrimony that comes with putting that tag on a player, keeping them from, sure, they're guaranteed a bunch of money that year, but it's not the lottery-winning lifetime contract, which usually the second contract of your NFL career is that contract. If you're a very good to great player, that's the one you're going to get. You might not even get a third one. You know, if you do, it's going to be a 1-year tryout type of thing. Like, here's the deal. Here's my chance. And the franchise tag is really, to me, kind of always been a punch in the sack to that notion. Like, I'm heading for X amount guaranteed, and instead I'm getting 1 year. And if I tear my Achilles, this is all over. So I'd be surprised if they wanted to go down that road. So I think if he doesn't get a new contract this year, I mean, they can always negotiate this, all over again next year before free agency gets here. I'd be very surprised if they use the franchise tag in almost any scenario.
It's just an option that they would have, though.
Sure.
It's more leverage for them.
It's a reason why, to me, he doesn't have a real leg to stand on, because he's not that close to an actual finish line. They could always threaten him with that, and he's got to know that. So it's a tough. The team holds most of the control.
Thanks again, Tucker. Mike is next. Hello, Mike.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Okay, I have two things I think that I want to talk about. First off, the golf. I used to be an avid golf fan and watch it all the time. But ever since all of those guys like Greg Norman, Payne Stewart, Tiger Woods, Tom Kite, all those guys are gone. I don't watch it no more at all. I don't watch it at all.
Because Tom Kite retired?
What's that?
Because Tom Kite retired, he's done with golf? Is that really what I'm hearing?
Not just Tom Kite.
No, I know you gave a list of guys, but there are other excellent players. Like, what is there something about the new generation of players that doesn't agree with you?
I just don't like them. My own opinion.
Yeah, sure. Well, you're definitely entitled to that. I'm just curious as to how you got there. If you really liked golf and watching the best players play, what is it about these guys?
Attitude. To me, it's attitude. But then the other thing is James Cook.
Okay.
I agree with Mike. I think this is what Mike said.
Before you say it, I just bet my house on what this is going to be. So go ahead. No pressure. I'm going to lose my house if I'm wrong.
No, you're not. Not on Grand Island. No, you're not.
Okay.
All right, anyways, here it is.
I don't even know what that means.
When you sign a contract, okay, you are obligated to fulfill that
Bam,
contract.
I just won a house. I now own 2 houses.
Well, no, obviously.
Of course you were going to say that. Of course, if somebody that would just, with the broadest brush in the world, say that all golfers now have bad attitudes, and I miss Tom Kite, what is that person 100% of the time going to say about James Cook? Hey, you signed the deal, buddy. I mean, there's just like, I've been doing this for 30 years.
Yeah, but is it not true?
Of course it is, but that's not the way the league works. I mean, guys get their deals redone all the time. Micah Parsons has a contract, doesn't he? He's not without a contract, but, he wants a new one.
Well, Mike would not support that.
Right.
Because he has a contract.
But that's the way the game is played, Yeah.
I got to pay my car payment. It's a contract.
Right.
I can't change it.
Right. Which is exactly why, thanks, Mike. Interesting. Which is exactly why I said what I said about how fans feel. You're not all fans, but part of my point was it's not relatable. It's not something most of us can ever do in our lives. It's just not show up and suddenly get our salaries doubled or something. Like it's,
right.
Of course, that's not how we live. But to not notice that is just ignorance. I mean, you have to be aware that in pro sports, it's a different world, and a lot of times these moves are very successful. You just have to, play it out, I guess. Oh my, that's got to be the first person I've ever heard of that would. Tom Kite, nothing bad or anything, but was like the warm milk on the there was just nothing.
Right.
That he could hit the ball, won a lot of money. But he was somebody that there wasn't. Maybe this is what the caller liked about him, is that he wasn't flashy.
He was every man.
Tom Kite, holy cow! Welcome to the show, Tom Kite.
Yeah.
No thanks, man.
I didn't see any of that. Well, I should say I didn't see any of that coming. I thought it was going to be like the live guys, leaving, and all the stars aren't there, and it really takes a lot out of the.
I'm over here trying to figure out where I want my new house.
I mean, but wow. Yeah, I don't know.
Where do I want it?
Funny, me and Mike couldn't be more. I'm watching more golf and loving it more than ever before. I mean, it has a lot to do with me playing more golf than I've ever played before. But I'm watching the Valero Texas. I'm watching the tournaments where you look at the leaderboard I don't even know who half of these guys are.
Did you watch the celebrities? Did you go that far?
I never.
That's the last frontier.
It never showed up. I didn't look for it hard at all.
Okay.
And it wasn't around where, I'm like,
I saw a minute of it, and I saw Aaron Rodgers chip in. I was in Baltimore.
I did think at one point I would like to watch it, but it just wasn't readily available. So I was like, okay, whatever.
You got to give somebody, though, who's very anti-golf, golfers, let's say, one thing. it still happens. It's continuing and it's rampant and it's bad. The 18th hole, takes the hat off, runs his hand through his hair, and shakes his opponent's hand. I've just got to get that head sweat over to your body here before we can. I can't wait. I'm going to run my fingers through my hair, which is caked in sweat after having a hat on, no matter what temperature it is, for 5 hours, and then I'm going to shake your hand. I mean, no, thank you.
I pay. Well, I don't want to overdo this because I didn't pay special enough attention to tell you for sure who I saw, but I think it might have been Spieth, who I know you have always years-long problems with Spieth.
I'm coming over to Mike's side now.
If it was him, I'm going to be watching for him in the future because there was someone this weekend who I watched more than once take the hat off, hold it in his right hand while he's fixing his hair with his left, and then switching hands and shaking hands
that's fine.
With a cleaner. I mean, the hand is not going to be clean. You've been playing golf for 5 hours, and the hand's not probably clean.
That's fair, too.
But still,
how much does it matter?
You haven't rummaged it through the sweaty head yet.
Right.
And so
I respect that move.
It might even be like sort of force of habit. I'm just going to do this so I don't run my right hand through my hair and then shake hands.
So a couple guys, I don't know if I want to name them, but I've watched maybe more of this tournament than I've ever watched in a golf tournament. And a couple of guys did this, and they looked like they were checking to make sure their hair was still on. A couple of the older guys on the tour. Looked like
I see.
They had
I got you.
Both have won majors, if you want. A couple of guys looked like they were sort of like you might just do if you had new hair. Is it on? Are we sure it's on?
Right. I got you.
And I'm always looking for this. Scheffler didn't do it.
Didn't run his right hand through the hair. Right.
And he's walking around on that 18th green with his hat off, and he's losing his hair. Like Scheffler's hairline is receding in a certain interesting kind of way, where he's got a couple of clumpy sections on the top.
Yeah.
And
he's got that pale white forehead thing going, which a lot of guys have because you're wearing hats on the golf course.
Hats all the time.
It's just tough
so
look.
he has a little bit of an unfortunate hairline right now. I would say TaylorMade tweeted there must be a working relationship with TaylorMade. They tweeted a picture of him, and they photoshopped his hairline.
Really?
Just this morning.
Wow.
Yeah, it's touched up.
Huh.
Which, if that's me, I'm not self-conscious about it. This is my hair. I'm walking around. I've got the hat off. And you're going to go and embarrass me like this, touching up the hairline? Absolutely not. I would be irate. So you're calling attention to it.
It was right. It was from that on the green right after he won.
Yes.
So I did see him later, the trophy presentation thing that takes a little while to set up that they end up having. And by then, he's cleaned up some, he's gotten in front of a mirror, and his hair looked like pretty, normal, nice. Like you could, not like when he took the hat off. It was definitely noticeable when he took that.
Yeah, but he did not do the running his fingers through his hair, which I applaud him for. Paniotovich tweeted the pictures. You can see it that way. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. We'll be right back, and more on Scheffler's win with Brian Koziol in about 20 minutes here on WGR. Good baseball tonight. The Yankees are in Toronto. The Jays have been winning like crazy. They're up by 3 games.
Skeens for the Pirates tonight.
And Skeens for the Pirates against Detroit. Evan Abrams, our old friend, Action Network, says this is very rare for a team with 60 wins, or maybe it's the most wins. I think they use the number 60. Detroit is an underdog against a team with as few wins as the Pirates, fewer than 40. And even in baseball, where bad teams win a third of their games every night, it's still like only a handful of times in many years has that happened, where the bad team, 20-plus games behind them in the standings, would be favored in the game. But that is the deal tonight. It's not Skubal. He pitched last night.
We just missed it, yeah.
Although maybe the Pirates would have rearranged if it were Skubal and Skeens like they did the last time.
Right.
Probably not. That was a doubleheader.
That was like wasn't there a rain out or something?
Yeah.
And they could have kept him in, and they didn't.
They could have moved. I think they would have had to move him to the earlier start.
Right.
And they chose not to do it. Here's Dan next. Hello, Dan.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. Thanks for calling.
Sorry I'm a little delayed. I'm listening on the Odyssey app. But I think it's funny that the entire James Cook conversation that you guys have been having is the exact same conversation that all the DC media is having about Terry McLaurin.
Pretty much.
And how he's holding out. He's like arguably the second best offensive player, and he's asking for like at this point at least $30 million, and they're so far apart. He's holding out, and the fans are all upset at him. He held a press conference after a commercial shoot last week and basically said how unhappy he was and called out the team. And everyone down here is like freaking out because the Commanders haven't had to do that yet, pay their own guys. And like I said, like 85% of your conversation has been
You know what,
same.
Dan? There's even one more similarity. They're both trying to cash in on touchdowns.
Yes, exactly.
McLaurin had by far his biggest touchdown year, and so did Cook. Mm-hmm. So they both trying to take advantage of that.
And then the only other big difference is in September, Andrew McLaurin turns 30, and DC doesn't want to pay him because he's a 30-year-old receiver.
Which, is understandable.
That's not without merit. Yeah. It would make it a harder call for me. Like as you're laying this out, Dan, I'm thinking to myself, if this is the Bills and McLaurin is, a problem for them about his contract, I'm like, pay him, shut up. Pay him. He's a receiver. Shut up. But 30 makes it more complicated.
But you have to do it.
Yeah, I think I would do it too. Whereas with Cook, I don't, if you've been listening to us for any amount of time, I'm not interested in paying Cook at all. So, but McLaurin would be very different to me.
Thanks, Dan. The position is the difference. McLaurin is not easily replaceable. Cook is, I think, fairly easily replaceable. I would say that. Not everybody would say that, but
I would. Yeah.
I think it's just way different. You take Jaden Daniels off that miracle rookie year that he had. I'm not saying he's not great, but just like couldn't have imagined as good of a season as you got for a team that's been bad forever. And they take away his number one receiver. Like, well, they wouldn't put it like that, would they? He loses his number one receiver in year 2. There's some leverage. I mean, McLaurin.
For sure, yeah.
And he has made more money.
And that's new ownership there, too, relatively new anyway, right? So
this would be his third deal, I think. He's made a lot more money, so he might think, I've got nothing to lose here, less to lose by holding out for a while. That's a better one than Cook. Cook is not that interesting for this, if he does hold out at all anyway. We don't even know that yet. He's a little bit interesting, but like I said before, I still think it's mostly a local story. McLaurin would be a bigger, because of Daniels and what his perceived value to that team would be. Because who else do they have, Bulldog? They have Debo. From your drafts, you should know all this. They have Debo Samuel, Zach Ertz. Wow, I mean, can they get John Riggins back?
Yeah.
How about this setup?
Did I just see the wrong video, or did Debo Samuel look like he went to like the Kelvin Benjamin off-season training camp?
Yeah, he did.
He looked kind of.
He put some pounds on.
He looked a little sluggish, is what I'll go with.
Yeah,
to me.
Yeah, that's a big, way more interesting situation, McLaurin in Washington than ours, at least so far. Thanks, Dan. Once more, Brian Koziol joins us next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life.
Buffalo Bills training camp begins this week. Players will get going on Wednesday. And Sal Capacio, in preparation for this, has a piece up at our website, WGR550.com, on the storylines to follow on the offensive side of the ball. And stay tuned. Sal will also be putting up a piece on the defensive side of the ball either tonight or tomorrow morning. And coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Fiegel Carr and Joyce, Shore Border Attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorney, and driven by your Upstate Honda dealer for great deals on the entire Honda lineup. Visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. Titans quarterback Will Levis undergoing season-ending shoulder surgery. The injury, though, does date back to last year. And the surgery comes after Levis was unable to shake the discomfort. And the Packers, they are giving offensive tackle Zach Tom a 4-year, $88 million extension that does include $30.2 million signing bonus. We'll also get more tonight on the Open Championship that goes to Scotty Scheffler. Stay tuned as Brian Koziel will join the show next. And then in baseball, no Bisons tonight. They're on the road starting tomorrow, a 6-game series against Columbus. But tonight, just after 7 o'clock, the Jays are hosting the Yankees, and the Mets have the Angels in town. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Scotty Scheffler has his Open Championship and the third leg of golf's Grand Slam.
I talked to Brian Koziel on Friday. Bulldog was off last week. Did manage to call in on Wednesday to pick his 10 golfers for the Open. And by Friday at mid-afternoon, it felt like maybe it was over.
That's what Brian said to me. I ran into him halfway through we played golf at Glen Oak, and Brian was having, along with his whole Tee to Green crew, their putting challenge, the Duster Challenge. So he was there to start setting up. Actually, Zach's phone call to him interrupted our conversation. Brian and I were talking, and I, of course, was playing golf, so I wasn't watching the golf. He said, "You're probably all set. Scotty's like in front, and like you're probably never looking back."
Would have been hilarious, Brian, if DeChambeau had won. Like you take Scheffler out of the equation for a minute there yesterday. Maybe the wind kicks up, and here's DeChambeau, who got all the way to second from a 78. Pretty good. I mean, I'm not his biggest fan, and we don't have to start with him. It's just like after round one, everybody was taking their shots at him because he can't play over here. Mm-hmm. And then he went 17 under the next 3 days, something like that. Crazy.
Pretty good.
Brian Koziel on the Wester hotline. Let's start with Scheffler, right? That's probably what we should do.
Yeah.
Put into perspective for us, Brian, how you see like where he's at historically.
Well, I feel like the post-Tiger era, or at least post-era that Tiger was dominant, we keep trying to like find this player that is playing at Tiger's level that maybe statistically is starting off their career where we can say, is this maybe what Tiger did or is this Tiger-like? I feel like we did it with McIlroy a little bit. He cooled down. We did it with Spieth. McIlroy, in terms of me saying cooling down, I should respect how good he's been.
Sure.
In majors, in terms of winning, he cooled down for a while. Spieth started out very hot out of the gate, and he has cooled down tremendously.
Didn't Koepka maybe have a minute here, too?
At age 29, has done some pretty good things that are Tiger-like, has dominated the last 3 years of professional golf that has been Tiger-like. And we can sit here and start to, say, well, how does Scheffler compare to other greats? Well, by age 29, there's only been 3 others that have won the Masters and the Open and the PGA, and that's Tiger and Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player. Like, ooh, that's a great list to be in. To have 4 majors by the age of 29, who's been in that list? Well, it's Tiger and Jack and only 1 or 2 others. So, like, you start to try to rattle off, like, well, he's really, really good. I feel like because he carries himself very, like, experienced, mature, in a sense that he even physically doesn't even look the age of 29. Like, he hasn't really even gotten to what golfers would say is their peak time to play. So he's off to a very, very good start in his career for sure here. And he's doing things that Tiger used to do, which would be, on Thursday, put himself in the top 10, not necessarily even the lead, but he put himself right there and then Friday have a good day, and then by Saturday he's in control, and you're already saying it's over. And it kind of had that same feeling like we saw with Woods. In all four of Scheffler's major wins, he won one of his Masters by 3, another one by 4, and then 4 and 5 if you look at these other majors that he's won. So he hasn't had to do it in dramatic fashion or sweat it out, I guess, per se. He's been pretty dominant, which is what Tiger did quite a bit. And a lot of these other players are like, well, who's going to step up? For a while there on Saturday, Scheffler stayed at 10. And some of these guys were trying to make a charge. Rory made an early charge, but nobody ever really threatened. And then on Sunday, he just stepped on the gas and it was over. It's just, which is kind of, again, similar to what Tiger has done. I don't want to all of a sudden say he's on the path to doing what Tiger did because, man, the longevity of what Tiger did is so impressive. But historically, he has some similar things to what Tiger did up to his age of 29.
Right. And so far, healthy, too, right? He hasn't had any... Not that Tiger didn't start breaking... he did the knee. What was the knee at the U.S. Open? Was that 2008? 9, somewhere in there? Yeah. But Scheffler, I never hear anything about how he's doing physically. He had the thing this year where he hurt his hand making spaghetti or something. But as far as the swing and the mechanics and all that, there's never been knees or backs or anything.
I mean, what a klutz though! How do you hurt yourself making spaghetti? You just dump it in the water.
Well, it's making homemade pasta, I think, is what they were doing.
Oh, okay.
That's a different thing.
I can see it.
At least that was the story, anyway.
The worst two things for Scheffler has been cutting his hand during holiday time with his family and getting arrested going into the PGA Championship. Nothing actually having to do with golf.
For getting out of the car.
And physically, he's got a swing that seems as though it's repeatable. Mickelson has had a long career of not being injured. It's more of a long feel swing, and I think Scheffler is in that boat. He doesn't put a lot of torque on his back and his knees like Tiger did for quite a long time, which obviously, wore on him over time and multiple surgeries and things like that. This is a swing that I feel like Scheffler, if he wants to play it for the next decade and physically be able to do it, I feel like he can do it. So, it's trending well, at least physically, that this is something that maybe is give Scheffler a shot to maybe do something that Tiger did.
I don't know how far down the rabbit hole I'm willing to get on the mechanics here, but even the thing he does with his feet, which is so unique, I think actually effectively reduces the torque on his knees and his back, right? He's sort of releasing at the bottom instead of twisting himself all up.
I think you're spot on that. You're right, because your feet aren't locked to the ground as much, so it's allowing your body to kind of freely turn through it. So, yeah, I think you're right. I think he probably is setting himself up that if he wants to keep this swing for the next decade going, he physically, as long as, the body would hope to cooperate, that he'd be able to do that.
Bulldog mentioned Koepka as somebody who has maybe had a minute since Tiger, where we're asking some of these same questions. I've got him at 5 majors, I think. 3 PGAs and 2 U.S. Opens. I don't know. Is it over for him? Where is he at?
Yeah, I mean, do I predict? If you forced me, is Koepka going to win another major? I guess I would side more towards no. But yeah, he's a player that mentally can handle the pressure, handles the moment. He loves the major moments. I don't know if his game has slipped a lot. He really hasn't been a factor that much. A little at the U.S. Open, kind of going into the weekend at Oakmont, but for the most part, the last few Masters and PGAs and Opens, he has not been a factor. Obviously, Oak Hill, not too long ago. I mean, that's 2023.
Yep.
That he was very, very good there. So I guess I don't want to write him off. But if you were forcing me to say he wins another major, yes or no, I think I'd slide toward the side of no.
I would too. He was somebody that did not come across as loose. And neither, of course, did Tiger Woods usually come across as loose. He was more just looking down on everybody. Scheffler, we've talked about some of his thoughts and what he said about golf's importance to him. I think he's closer to loose. I loved him yesterday because, the playing partner was interesting, Haotong Li. And just is he somebody, in thinking of, well, how could Scheffler lose? Maybe this is a guy who's loose. He seems like he's very loose. And he's just, I'm playing for second, just maybe not so worried about it. And what you got, Brian, was the two of them just kind of laughing with each other all day, like complimenting each other's shots, and Scheffler seemed to have a great time with him. That's how loose Scheffler might be. Shows up with this lead, whatever the pressure means to him. Birdie, okay. let's go have a nice round together. And Lee seems like kind of a sweetheart. So I don't know what Scheffler's kryptonite might be in this way as far as partners go, but I think he liked yesterday.
Yeah, it's exactly the opposite of what Tiger would do. He wouldn't talk to anybody.
Right.
He wouldn't even look at you. So I wonder if Tiger played with how Scheffler's attitude of, like, I'm going to smile, I'm going to compliment you on a good shot, I'm going to talk with you as we walk down the fairway, like, would that have been better for Tiger? I mean, probably Tiger thought, this is how I can be successful, and it worked for him, obviously, really, really well. And maybe this is how Scheffler views golf, and he obviously has expressed himself over the last week quite a bit about how he says, like, this is not how I judge myself, and how he feels like after I win, that he even said, he's like, I get to enjoy this for 2 minutes. Like, that even seems even a little bit ridiculous to say that, but him thinking like, well, I'm going to get asked about the FedEx Cup playoffs before I even leave here today. So literally he feels like it's maybe, just minutes in his head, but maybe that attitude is for him. It works really, it obviously works really, really well. So I guess everybody that's a professional athlete has a way that they mentally have to approach the game. It's so hard to be a professional athlete. So this just must be how he deals with it. And he clearly, obviously, is handling it quite well. He seems to be in a strong mental state right now, to the point where he's so confident. And clearly execution is a big part of it too. You have to still be able to hit the shots, even if you have a perfect attitude.
Right.
And everything's dialing in for him right now.
Yeah, I mean, and yesterday, right, to have the misfortune, right, the double on 8, and just to have the mental toughness to then just come right back with a birdie again. Like, if you thought the door was cracking open even a little, and if you were glued to the golf looking for some drama, him getting a double, whether you're rooting for him or not, I mean, I shouldn't say quite that way, but, objectively, this could be something. Nope. I'm not going to get both of them back at once, but I'm going to get one of them right back here, right here. So, don't even think about walking through the door, because I'm just waiting here to blow your head off.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this with you guys before. My favorite new stat that I'm appreciative of Scheffler's game with is, and it is actually called this, if you go to like the PGA Tour website and look up stats, it's the bounce back stat, where a player, if they do bogey or worse on a hole, what's the percentage that they make birdie on the next hole? And Scheffler, I was, because of something, I was watching it actually with some guys that had him do the double, then bounce back. We looked it up. He's like 34.5% that he bounces back with birdie or better after a bogey or worse. So as you said right there, the door is open, or, hey, is there a crack, or, oh my goodness, is there something to worry about here? Nope. He comes right back with birdie or better more than a third of the time. To me, that's super, super impressive. That shows that he's mentally strong. How do you deal with a bad shot on the golf course or a bad result? Clearly, Scheffler is in the best frame of mind of anybody, because he's number one on tour in that bounce back stat.
But momentum. Somehow he's able to find the strength to play on after a, quote, bogey. They say that that's happened to him. Excuse me. I'm thinking that Brian made this up because I didn't see him make any bogeys, but apparently he has, and he does well after that. Trivia. Who is the last person to win the Open Championship that was doing so for the second time? 12 years in a row. 12 Opens in a row. The 1 year was canceled. COVID. 12 Opens in a row have been won by somebody that had never won it.
Ooh, now that you've given me a time frame, I want to guess Padraig Harrington.
He is the second most recent, to have won it back-to-back, 07, 08.
That's a great guess there, because he won 2 in a row, right?
It is.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking for here, yeah.
We're just looking for a second ever. It's one person more recently than that.
Right, okay, sorry.
Right. Everybody since this player, when they won it, had never won it before, which is pretty interesting. A lot of great players. But...
Is it Phil, that late one Phil had?
Woods, because Harrington did the back-to-back before, or closer, more recently than Woods' last win.
Mickelson won it for the first time.
Oh, okay.
When that was the tournament. And he hasn't won it twice. That was the tournament. That was the last tournament before we started our game. Was Mickelson. And I wonder if we had any conversation about, like, would you have picked him? Because I don't think I ever would have picked him at an Open Championship, but then he won it, which was one of my favorite majors to watch. Like, him finishing that off that year was really great. No, the answer is Ernie Els, who won it in 2012 for the second time.
That's just a guy I never see anymore. I was thinking about him this weekend.
He was in an ad this weekend.
I didn't see the ad. Was he in the ad for the smart toilet? No, that's not him.
That didn't look like him.
No. But, yeah, I just don't see him in – is he around at all, Brian? Is he playing even Champions or anything? Like, I just don't feel like I see Els.
Yeah, he plays on the Champions Tour, but I don't know how much of a regular schedule he does. I mean, the Champions, the Senior Tour major events, I know he plays in.
Okay.
I don't know how often, though, he's playing the regular Champions Tour events. I feel like he is playing somewhat of a regular schedule.
He's 55. The Big Easy. Bulldog was once known as the Big Uneasy, but those days are long gone. Much smoother now. Brian, I hope we talk again before April.
Yes. Let's
Ryder Cup.
In terms of golf, we can talk right before the Ryder Cup.
Ryder Cup.
Right. Black.
That'll save us. Are you going to go?
September. I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna try. I think I gotta figure out logistics. I know probably a trip to Long Island is not a cheaper one to go to this event, but I don't know if spectating wise, golf is a harder spectating sport. I think I always encourage everybody. I'm like, you have to do it at least once because you don't get to go onto the field of any other sport. Golf, you can literally be within arm's length of a guy hitting, if you get yourself in the right spot. But I've been told with people the Ryder Cup is like good to go once, but it's kind of a warning of like it's tough to spectate because there's only 4 groups on the course during the first 2 days. So if you think about like, okay, a crowd that would be at Oak Hill, but they're only on 4 holes.
Right.
Like, that seems tough to me. And I guess, you could also, there's a ton of waiting. Even if you're like, well, I'll go 2 holes in front and get on the rope. Well, you still got to wait. And then it's not like it's one group, then the next group, and the next group, like after a tournament where you could sit at a hole all day and you could watch all 100 golfers come through. Like at the Ryder Cup, there's only 4 groups going at a time. I guess if you went on Sunday at the singles, you could have a little bit more action. And then others have said, like, it's the most electric thing in golf to be at. So I feel like I would love to at some point go at least just one day, but I think spectating and actually seeing the golf ball and guys hit the golf shots, I feel like physically it would be a tough challenge to do.
Brian, thanks for all your time here this week with this tournament, and we will talk again then, if not sooner.
Thanks, guys. And then officially, for those keeping track, I went 0 for 4 on picks this year.
You did? Oh, no. Bulldog twice. Nobody won 50. Nobody won the full unit. All halves.
The picker, for your records, Mike, I know you're trying to keep track. The picker went 3-1, which I guess, it's Rory, Scheffler, Spawn was the one that I didn't have when it was my turn to pick, and then back to Scheffler. So you guys had good records. I don't want to give you too much credit because it's Scheffler.
Right. Chalk as chalk can be, right.
The picker was, and I don't want to speak for you both. I doubt maybe would you guys have either have taken Spawn if it was your turn to pick at the U.S. Open?
No. When he won, we got to go. When he won, I was thinking, because I had already really come to like him, and I thought, what kind of an idea would this have been? He was ranked high enough where it would have been crazy, but he would have been outside the 20 favorites for that one. All right, thanks, Brian.
Okay, guys, thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Yep. I do have...
Something
it's a mess. It's a mess. I got to start over because when they moved the PGA, that messed with my record keeping, and then COVID, and they went in a different order again. The Masters was 3rd that year. The Open Championship did not happen. And then we got back on the rails there in 21, I think anyway. Yeah, we went a long time where the person picking the golfers usually lost, and that has completely flipped. 6-2 the last 2 years. Spawn and then Schauffele, you didn't have him last year at the PGA, and he won.
That's why I don't like him.
Like you didn't know that. He won 2 then last year, Schauffele.
Yeah.
And the Open.
Right. That's right. He was the defending champ. Yeah.
He was the defending champ this week, and he
did all right.
Got there. He caught up a little bit. Yeah. Slow start. Coming up next, Sal joined us earlier to preview Bills camp, which opens on Wednesday. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.